Great against the Braum. Nico might have to be it. Not the typical combo you'd see with the Kai'Sa. But it's ranged in CC, so you'll take it. Joy goes towards that. He's had 1 or 2 fantastic games on the champion. 1 or 2 duff ones too, actually, remembering it though. And there's your drafts. Lots of ability to join a fight with extra members from FPX. Yorick to split push and double long range hyper carry. I just remember why it's so loud. I need to put my own volume down a little bit. That should hopefully be a little bit better. And now suddenly I'm not blowing out my own headphones. That should be a little bit more audible and a little more balanced. Let me know how the audio is in chat, by the way, as you get into game. Flounder, of course, going to help with the topside start. I think this Yorick game is good. I think this is a good Yorick game. Because I think initially, what will happen is FPX will try to 1v2 the Yorick the entirety of this game. That's going to be the job, right? Make sure that the Yorick doesn't get split push value. However... Touch live from me? Okay, it's worth noting. However, Yorick's specialty is 1v2s. If you jump at a Yorick, there's a good chance he takes both of you down. Especially once he gets to 1-2 items with the Maiden in mid-game. Level 2 hit by Hope and Kyle. Nico helping win that lane. Of course, Nico, one of the most lane-dominant supports. Yorick does the Alawi? Yorick's been doing that since before Alawi. Audio is unclear. Maybe you need to meow so we can really hear. Well, I think Flandre's got that covered. He's got the meow, right? I think he's doing alright. You know, in the great battle of cats versus mechs in the top side. I hear that. That's a tale for the ages. Shank's doing okay in this early laning phase. Worth noting, though, Azir is very low win rate versus Taliyah not internationally, but globally this year. My money's always on the cats over the mechs. Yeah, they're feisty things, aren't they? They ain't afraid of no one. But yeah, I think globally, Azir, something like 2-15, 2-16 against Taliyah. Taliyah has a very dominant win rate in that matchup, so we'll see whether Care can be the center of this team comp in, you know, both literal and figurative fashions. Mecha Rengar, oh my god, Mecha Rengar actually is both. Oof. It's like House Capulet and Montague combined. Care getting pushed but losing a lot of HP here, and there's a chance actually that Shanks could cause a couple of issues here, especially with that Q missing. Shadow, out on the map early, level 4. Jinx recalling, has cleanse. Can they stop the recall? Yeah, they can. Now that's a bit of an issue. They have heal, they have cleanse. No ignite on the other side. Guardian popped. But I think the timing's gone now. I think that was the time to do anything if they were going to. This is not the point where the Yorick is strong, of course. Yorick has some laning power. But typically, it has been about the, not unlike Fiora, where you go for the grasp, right? And you look for kind of burnout plays, where you get poke with stuff like Scorch or Grasp. I mean, the build for Fiora for the longest time was Grasp and Scorch, so you kind of go forward and poke with them on cooldown. You wouldn't go for the massive explosive trades, but that would be your way to slowly burn out a lane, and Yorick can very much do the same thing. Hope coming back out onto the map. Didn't go for something like a Cult. A lot of the time we do see Jinxes go Cult in pro play. Questionable comments in chat about the purpose of Yorick's Maiden. Behave. Kyle, of course, a player which I have a lot of love for right now. I think Kyle is currently the best support in the LPL. And I think both him and Tarzan are the best jungle support in the LPL, which is not something that the LPL has been particularly good at for the last few years. You know, there's been some good individual team fight performances, good laning performances, but actually having them as a pair hasn't necessarily been something that the LPL has leveraged that well, especially when you compare it to likes of the LCK, which has been, of course, more dominant on that level. Players like Carrier, Delight, Beryl, Lehens, all notable, of course, alongside their junglers. Quiet early game. CS lead for Assume and Jue. You kind of think that's going to come through when you see the Nico. Dragon, not even really started yet by FPX. Shanks does have level 6. Oh, and forces a flash very quickly out of care. Wins the hands check and doesn't get hit by the E stun. Flash for free. Maybe that's something they can return to. Dragon's still going to be started. AL not contesting that. Will presumably head over towards the Grubs. Hope not a level 6 yet either. Obviously level 5, both AD carries are. Kanavi's the best jungle in LPL now. Him or Tarzan, I think. And they're both playing very, very well right now. One grub taken. FPX really throwing their weight around in the early game. Walking up, but I don't know whether they can cash this in. They force AL to respect them around the grubs. They don't stop them from taking them. Maiden is up and available, and the Sheer starts to lose the matchup very hard at this point. The Yorick, of course, getting some buffs. Some changes coming through to the split. Some more durability on his ghouls. Definitely helpful. I didn't actually see all of the list of changes from Yorick. All I know is that he is stronger now, quote-unquote. But as far as I'm aware, he just does the same thing that Yorick has always done, which is, you know, be a really obnoxious 1v1, 1v2 champion. Assume has the level 6. Ooh, good dodge out by Hope on the W there. Hope, of course, his Kai'Sa won't get to play that this series because it's been played by Assume, which is a shame. It is a shame. But but Hope, I think, Hope has been on such excellent form. He's the player which, of course, won a title back in 2022 summer, reached his first final since then, last split with their Nuance Legend. First time for them as an organization. Hope is one of my favorite players to watch in the LPL right now. The way that he weaves his way into these important moments of team fights is very, very cool to see. Of course, he's going to be struggling in lane here. I say that, you know, like, wow, all of these great things about Hope, as he misses a cannon minion and he gets poked out. It'll be fine later, right, folks? Trust, we scale, Checks his flash and he has ult. Was wondering whether Kaya would dip over to the wrong side of the lane and Tarzan could look for a kill there. Good positioning actually there by Kaya, but Tarzan and Shanks, interesting angle. But since he wasn't on top side when they look for the gank, you need to be careful because he could be on this side of the map. Yeah, they're aware of it though. They're a dog that's gained sentience and a werewolf. Shit, getting good damage here. He's really going hard for this. Remember, there's a lot of healing from Yorick though. Yeah, I think that was a misjudgment from Sheer. Didn't realize he'd get a 1v1 like that. Shadow has to flash out after taking the Raptors. And that'll be it. Jinx ult was headed either towards the Pantheon or towards the Scion. And instead, anyone's Legend will go towards the mid lane. No flash on Care. Shanks didn't even need to ult there. How the heck did Care die? Flash from Kyle. I guess it was a flash Q from the Braum. Pantheon ult coming in. No flash on the Pantheon. Tarzan has his ult. Ult for ult trades in the mid lane. Care is still dead. FPX don't stop Care from Shanks from going towards their mid lane. That's the problem for Sheer. He actually might need to flash out here. This could be an issue. Flandre, good damage. The Maiden giving him the increased damage there. No extra Q though. Need to walk far enough away to make sure the Maiden comes back to you. You know, I have a friend who's a very good Yorick main. He, the thing which he talks about the most in terms of new and older players is the Maiden micro, because it has a mind of its own a lot of the time. So you need to walk far enough away from the turret so it doesn't keep aggroing under turret and get itself killed. You can see that happening there from Flandre. Had to step back enough. So what the hell happened here? Care walks up trying to get that last bit of the wave, and then he just gets... Oh, that's awesome by Kel. That is awesome! This guy is by far the best support in the LPL right now. By far. Doubling into the flash Q, lads to a kill, out of the fog 4. Slick play. Quick punish. Did I watch the podcast between Flandre and Whipper? No, I didn't. I hear it was a thing, but, you know, congrats to Georgia and to, Iris for setting that up. Seems like it's a very cool initiative. Hope they manage to keep that up long term. So in the interview before the game, Hope said that Shanks prepared a surprise. Hopefully we get to see that next game then. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, 1,000 Kites in chat. Doing a little bit of translating for us. Yeah, I agree, Mecha. That was very lazy from Care. You shouldn't be dying like that in that position. The wave's getting pushed in. You've gotten your farm. There's no point getting an extra poke at that point. Not being that under that much risk to do so, right? Rather. You didn't care enough? You know, the best thing about Care was when it was the Annie meta, and we get to talk about the Care Bear. And the worst thing was, he was very bad at Annie and would whiff his ult a lot, so the Care Bear was just too loving to deal damage. Tell you what, that was not the best meta for our poor man in the mid lane. Second grabs the spawn, AL have 3. I think what AL need to do is just wait until 1-2 items. Like, the Nash 2, the Zir can fight, yes. But you don't have much on the Jinx just yet. You really need Triforce on the Yorick, and he probably wants to go some more towards that Sterak second. So realistically, anyone's Legend need to just buy a little bit of time. You don't have to fight those Grubs. Dragon, they might want to. I think Grubs they can give up. Dragon, they don't want to give up for free. I mean, second Dragon, yeah, could be worse. Still, a bit risky if you're allowing FPX to get a lot of neutrals. And you see here that as soon as Flandre hits the E, he immediately backs off because the Maiden will get aggroed towards the target hit with the Gunk. And you have to back off a fair distance to allow the Maiden to walk back with you. Man, the amount of stupid things I've seen this this champion do over time. I feel like I've seen more Yorick than most because I used to play so much with people who played it. Dragon's going to go down. Smite steal at best. Not going to happen. Jway going to get a pick onto Kyle, but there's a triple knockup from the Brawl Bolt. And the Pantheon ult goes wide. The double shove back, only a single actually. Kyle gets out of that one. Shanks probably should have flashed a little early on that one. Tarzan goes in now though. Maybe seeing that they're a bit out of position. But that's maybe a little too far. Where's the damage? You don't have Hope here. That's an overplay from Tarzan. The first flick shins out. Getting some damage down, but not the most. Jinx ult misses, and I think that removes any chance of a kill. I assume had Flash and Barrier. It would have been risky anyway. Don't get why Tarzan re-engaged there. I think AL had done the hard work of getting out. So Dre goes in for this quick engage. Fantastic roam ult. W comes in as well. I mean, so Shanks gets into a bit of a situation there where, of course, he wants to be in position for Braum to W, but then gets hit by the Nico extended root duration, which allows him to get knocked back. Tarzan going for the extra all-in, though. I think that was a big mistake. That was a mistake. I just don't see, even with a good team fight, how that works out. You know, assume with Flash and Barrier, he's going to do some big damage. Speaking of assume, he's going towards the Yuntal build. So he'll be going towards likely Infinity Edge next for the, probably the biggest stat stick 2 items that an AD version can get. They better not beat BLG than start Happy Gaming versus FPX. The thing is, they've had to prepare for 2 teams in best of 3s back to back. That was definitely not Tarzan-like. Yeah, that was my thought too. Tarzan was so good at frontlining. He was deathless on the Shinzao in their win versus BLG, by the way. Absolutely insane. Like, his gameplay on the Shinzao was absolutely clutch. Sees that the red buff's down. And the thing is, preparing for multiple teams, especially one day after each other, that's rough. That is genuinely very rough. FPX doing a good job of keeping a vision. Of course, they do have the early game power over anyone's Legend, but they are only, you know, 500 gold up. They've got no grub advantage. The dragons do help. The dragon is their win condition, but I'm really quite worried now about what happens to FPX in the long run. Flandre winning out on the top side, 20 CS lead. We will definitely check in on that matchup later. Kyle taking some poke. Good job there by Dway to land some good skill shots. tower. Low HP. Kyle gets the shield up, and he gets the ult teleport behind them from the Yorick. He has Triforce. He has tier 2 boots. Here comes the Yorick and the Maiden. They get the instant stun. Tries to go forwards. Can't get the Q just in time. Gets it now. So 1 kill on the board for Flandre on the Yorick. Sound coming in, though, and this is his bread and butter. Feels like he can't do that much, though. Arrived too late to make a difference as a front line. And shit, he's just going to slowly be dragged down into the abyss. Both top laners teleporting, both dying. 2 for 1, 3 for 1 make that. As FPX lose top, mid, and jungle. It's a good teleport from Flandre. I don't actually know whether they needed to take that fight, but now the problem is, I think FPX have an issue now. Yes, they ended up losing those kills. I think the biggest problem is, you just gave a kill over to Yorick. That's one thing. The biggest thing for me is you have just lost your teleport on Sion, who can no longer permanently reset, be around the map, and then just try and teleport away from the Yorick lane to get something done. That's what happens here. Kyle walks forward, gets the W, gets knocked back. That's a fantastic E into the ult. Doesn't take any damage from the minefield because of the E. Care caught out on traps somehow, someway. Dre does a decent job here. And they do a good job of turning onto the Yorick, who would, if he gets another couple of Qs, be just unstoppable at that point. They'll really underestimate the 1v2 potential. Went down to 32 HP to Kyle. It's 31 more than he needed. I'm really worried about this Yorick matchup now. I think that Sheer is going to have a window of time where he can't impact the map. He won't have teleport. And that means that you can start a 4v4 around the map if you need to. No Sion's going to be able to come down to this one. Shadow is not tanky enough. Dway misses out, does dodge out in that W. Shanks tried. He uses ult, looks like. Tried to flash ult. Kag got out with his ult. I guess we'll see a picture. I'm sure we'll see a replay of what happened between those mid laners in a bit. Maybe afraid that there was a teleporter not going to come in from Kaz, so wanted to find a winner to all in. Knows that Sheer doesn't have to teleport himself. Yeah, this is it. What happened here? Ooh, flashes over the combo. Ooh. Very, very close. Oh, so his ult was still down from the first play. And now Kaz is going to be able to combo up with Assume. I don't think Sheer... I was about to say I don't think he saw Assume coming. Gets the 1-for-1 anyway. Assume gets to pick up a little bit of that. But Tarzan's now here with the support around the corner. Assume had ult, had barrier. Misjudges the map play. Shanks brawling it out with the Talia. We said that the Talia, very good matchup versus the Azir, but Shanks making Care respect him an awful lot more. And because of those 2 deaths, Dragon's going to go to the side of AL. FPX maybe could have set up for that Dragon, but because of the death of both their carries, FPX can't even get close to this now. That's a huge strategic mistake. Tarzan just soloing the enemy ADC. Well, you know, Shanks did a bit with the soldiers. I see him even with a Q upgrade, not going to be able to take that fight. Against an early game Shinzo, is 1,000 gold up? Yeah. Don't envy him. Don't envy him at all. Flandre. We have, you know, seen his Yorick get blasted a little bit versus BLG. We talked about how important this game could be for him. Or rather, his role within the game could be very important. Herald. Getting chunked. FPX using the Nico to get some play into the Herald, but Hope is left alone. AL go for the objective and leave the ready carry alone. No flash on the Jinx. Can't escape. How do they retreat? 5v4. Can FPX get anything across the map? Pushing in towards the mid lane. She can try and hold a Q in this choke point. Chooses not to. So at the end of it, FPX get a kill, lose the Herald. Use a couple of ultimates, but hey, FPX will take that kill. Care returning towards the top lane. Not the best teleport from Flandre. Wait, did he just DPS the Herald? If he did, that's fine. Because the DPS from the Yorick is also very high in objectives. Yorick jungle is actually pretty strong. Flandre. Ooh, doesn't get himself the cannon. Damn. Unlucky. I'm glad that Flandre's in the kitchen again, folks. Brought out the tank Jace earlier in the season. Always been an innovator. Likes to play some different stuff. Sheer's in a bit of an uncomfortable position where he's had to build armor versus the Yorick and a lot of it. But then the Azir gets to kind of just punch you for free in a side lane. AL can afford to choose to play things slow if they want. Bring back the Bloodman, the Vladimir top. Yeah, that's true. Did play that on day 2 of his placement games. We'll say, not the most successful pick ever. Very good in laning phase. Entered it later. But hey, love to see him like that. You know the Flandre's nickname in Chinese is the Gun, because he was one of the very first Lucian top lane players. I almost, if I get time and also a budget to do this, I might want to make a video on Flandre. Talk to some of the, talk to Raz, talk to Emily Rand and Kelsey, Kira as well, who has fond memories of him. Make a video about how Flandre was the carry top laner in a generation of tank top laners in LPL. People now assume that all LPL top laners across all time were carries because of the Shy, because of a bunch of other top, Bin, Breathe. Back in 2015 to 2017, because MSI was one with top laners playing tanks like and stuff like Urgot, whatever. Right? Well, not at that point, but later on it was Letney playing stuff like the Urgot top lane, being more bruiser. That's where it's going to go down. Yeah, because of that, top lane kind of went through a bit of a tank phase in LPL, and it was only really Flandre who played carries at that point, up until the Shy made a bit of a renaissance of carry picks within the LPL, and that became our specialty after that point. Very important player for the tapestry of LPL. FPX, I feel like they've really not used their power spike well. I think they had a 1-item power spike on Pantheon, on, I suppose, the Scion as well. Look how badly this trade's going to go now, by the way. Look how much healing he's going to get from this Q. Sheer cannot play this. Has to use the ult, but this is the 1v2. We were talking about Flandre. How much work has he got? That's a lot of damage coming through from the Kai'Sa. Has a Q for the heal. It's a lot of damage, but he can't escape the passive. Not ready to 1v2 just yet. You can see how close it gets. That'll be scarier later on, but misjudges his first 1v2 of the game. FPX breathe a sigh of relief. Who's the best top laner in the LPL right now? Good question. Okay. Ooh, finds himself a Braum, gets himself stunned. Shanks starts the DPS. That's a Braum ultimate and a flash out of the Sleer. Misjudged by Cat. Didn't spot Kyle on the map there. Best top laner in the LPL? I think Flandre is doing pretty well, right? It's definitely not Bin right now. It's definitely not the Shy. I think it's Flandre. I think Flandre is actually our best top laner in the LPL right now. Yes, he does misjudge things. It's either him, I think in a kind of more of a macro sense, right? 369's also been doing well. I think 369 and Flandre are looking pretty good as it stands. Hey, Omni, good to see you. Oh, it's Hoya for you? Yeah. Where my Hoya fans at? I think that Flandre's laning's not the best, comparative to some, but I think that his flexibility and his tactical advantage gives to his team, strategic advantage rather, can be very, very important. Dragon spawning, FPX would love to get themselves a soul point. On Hextech Soul, no less. Oh, pushing in mid lane. Is he strong enough to team fight yet? Well, we'll see. FPX have that strong Kai'Sa. Their Yorick is not a team fighter compared to the Scion. Tarzan, can you get the steal? What? Jinx? Jinx gets the steal? Shadow doesn't get the smite, and Hope walks away with a dragon. What? Excuse me? Nanny? Anyone's legend gonna walk up, use their full grips on the tower. FPX, what the hell happened there? The smite didn't even come through from Shadow. The Jinx ult Dragon Steel comes through again. One of the classics of pro play. Wasn't even like the full max range damage though. Hope just slams it home. What the hell? Oh, the game's falling apart now. You've just lost an inner turret, an outer turret, and dragon. I mean, yeah, Shanks, you might end up shutting him down, but he still has ult and he still has flash. Tries to get out, doesn't use either of those things. FPX will get themselves onto the Atacon. They will get themselves Atacon now, but how many ults did they just use? They used the teleport and they used Shadow's ultimate. I think anyone's legend give over the dragon. Do you really want to fight this in a 4v5? Well, maybe they do. Alright, Yorick's teleporting up. Atacon going down. We're just embarrassed by one objective steal. Almost gets another with a Jinx ult. Tarzan pops the ult, will get out. Kyle will W backwards. FPX get a kill, they get the Atacon. It is something. I still think they trade down in the overall play though. Losing a chance at Dragon Soul, losing 2 turrets across the map for a 1 temporary GA buff. Anyone's legend will absolutely take it. What the frick happened here? Very early smite. Very early. Smiting at 1600. That's way too early, Shadow. Misjudging when the ult would hit, I presume. And yes, the Jinx ult does eventually do more damage than a smite at some points. It does. But you have to be stood next to the objective, has to splash onto it, much more hard to get. Shadow, I think, just panicking there. Just panicking a little. Okay, well, maybe FPX can use the GAs to kind of, you know, buy some time on the map. Potentially go towards the Baron. Only a minute and a half left of it. Look, I know that they get a tower here, but realistically, FPX needed to be a lot further ahead in gold. You need to be able to force plays continuously. This Jinx is going to become absolutely disgusting. You've got the Shojin on Yorick now. I forget that's the second one. I don't know if it's going to be the Starix, but the Shojin coming through means that he has just ridiculous amounts of Q up time, and the damage from the Q goes higher too. It's a lot. You're absolutely right, Clutch. You have to use this for something. You've just earned this GA. You do have the Leandries on. On the Talir, and Kaiser is one of the better killers of Baron. Flick back, not going to land on Tarzan. Sheer trying to group up and do something. And look, Flandre, when he doesn't have TP, can't fix these situations by hyper-split pushing. They get a Pantheon ult there into the mid lane, but there's still a turret here. Sheer goes forwards. They might be able to get Shanks. Dre gets an ultimate, and Tarzan gets a great bot back there. Sundered Sky doing a lot of work. Assume trying to outplay with the ult and the barrier. And I suppose it's a 1 for a half if you count the withdrawal as that. Tarzan, magnificent ult to buy some time, but just caught out a little too much. Shadow very quick on the trigger for pulling these ultimates. So, back towards the Baron. This will be down for free, no smite. This is important. Okay. Alright, Baron actually earned from FPX. We think. Well, there's no smite for anyone's life. It won't be a steal, but do they get out alive? They have no GAs anymore. Flandre walking towards. Remember, this Yorick is not really a tank. They do drop some damage onto him, but they don't kill him. Dway has to run away from Flandre, and Shadow's gone down. Hope starts to get some resets, and that is a problem. It is the end of all days if Jinx starts to resetting and gets a couple out of it. The ult's going to miss, and suddenly 3 go down. Flandre gets himself a double kill out of that too as the Yorick, and they'll head towards the bottom side of the map, set up towards the dragon spawning in a minute, and FPX, who just worked so hard to get themselves that Baron, will now find themselves with a lack of opportunities to use it. Fiora versus Yorick, is that a good matchup? As far as I'm aware, Yorick beats Fiora, because Fiora can never riposte anything. So Yorick just slowly burns them down over time and has very good sustain at all stages in the game. Yorick is actually very good versus Fiora. I think it used to be a problem when Fiora could, like, kill your ghouls very quickly with, like, an auto Q and get rid of a lot of your DPS in some situations. It's a fun matchup, we'll call it that way. So, this is 5v4. Dre comes in, but Dre doesn't have his ult or flash, so Dre doesn't actually get to impact this play. Ends up being a front to back, where Shadow just gets completely gutted. 4-man or 3-man plus the maiden Q doesn't really mean that much from Sheer. Karen assumed just run out of damage, and the Jinx gets to wail on your front line. Yeah, Yorick counters Fiora hard. That was my understanding of it, but it has changed over time. Dragon goes down. Oh, scary. The ult goes wide from Hope. Wouldn't have been the first time we saw that this game. I was like, oh, surely this is over. But then you see the ult flying by, and you get pictures of Wild Turtle in your head. Yorick actually on the side lane again now has the Starix. Flandre is very strong, folks. He is very strong. Care though, I will say, 2,000 gold up, has a death cap. I mean, Talir's kind of spooky now too. God, damn, that's a lot of damage. Level 17 Flandre. Hang on, he's teleporting out. Oh, it's gonna be close, it's gonna be close. Gets the stun onto him. Now the problem is, you're in the 1v3 scenario. Great Dark Procession. Ult comes through from Care. You need to be careful there, Talir. That Q's gonna smack you! Care goes down! And it's a 1-for-1 in a 1v3 scenario. What? Yorick's back, baby. If anyone missed seeing Yorick in pro play, this is going to be quite therapeutic for you. 3,000 gold up individually. Things Yorick does. Casually wins 1v3s. Oh, God. All right, so what happens here? I guess Care gets caught by the Dark Procession. Yeah, he has to flash out of the cage. Care has to flash. And look how much random damage he does. Does get his teleport cancelled, but then you're just giving him slight kind of bits to 1v2. Really nasty. Of course, the stacks come through with some big work here. And then Care just gets bopped. He just gets bopped. Hits him with a shovel. Sharpest shovel I ever did see. There's 3 ults. Yeah, you do cancel out the teleport. Look, honestly, the biggest win for FPX there is actually getting the teleport out. Because that means he has to stay closest to his team when the Baron spawns and when Dragon spawns. That's just ridiculous, man. Yeah, Flandre, you take a bow. Yeah, you observers, you show him off. Close towards his next item now. What's he gonna go with that, actually? He's got the Star, he's got the Shogun. What else does Tunneler go into? Stride Breaker? Could be kind of funny. I guess the move speed's kind of nice if he gets that. FPX being chased out of that jungle invade. Slightly ahead in goal. I just don't trust FPX to close the game. I don't trust them to close the game. I guess actually no. The carries are actually very far ahead from FPX. I've been talking about this as though AL, well, you know, they never fell that far behind. FPX, you know, they had to scale, they had to snowball harder. I think when they have 2.5k on Kai'Sa and 1.5 going on 2k for Talia, I think they do actually have the damage to win a team fight. They do. It's hard to play, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. You have the 3 items on his ear, that is a problem. Sundered Sky, yeah, you're right, Sundered Sky, I forgot that. The thing is that when I see Sundered Sky not built first, my brain just forgets that it exists. Because Sundered Sky is like almost always a first item, and then I very rarely see it afterwards. But on Yorick, absolutely. Yorick for that first Q, ridiculous. You're healing from the Sundered Sky plus your Q base healing as well. Absurd. Sheer 3,000 gold behind. Still useful as a Scion because you can just put your body on the line. But it's just a lot weaker than it was before. So what's the plan for Anil's Legend? Feels like they have to play around the Yorick teleport. Sheer's HP bar is quite large. Yeah, it is. I actually still... Because there's so much random percent HP damage from Yorick though, you missed a cannon there, Cat. We all saw that. Yeah, so much percent HP damage. I still don't think that Sheer can do much against the Liandry's in terms of magic damage percent HP. And then also Flandre with all of his random craziness. Hope, 3 items, doesn't have something like Lord Dominic's regards for armor pen. Going more... Oh no, sorry, he does. What am I talking about? He's going towards a Bloodthirster next though, likely. Level 15. 2 levels behind, assume. He's basically had to be attached at the hip to Kyle, as you do as Jinx. Jinx doesn't really get to solo farm much. Sheer is a minion versus Yorick. His job is to push the ghoul away. Yeah, use the roar of the Slayer to push one of the ghouls off you. Dragon up in 30 seconds. Would be Soul for FPX. Yeah, okay. This is how FPX can win the game, folks. This is how they can win the game. They get themselves a Soul. And they end the game off with that. Oh, it's a Hull Breaker for Flandre. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Why didn't I think of that one before? I forget about all the tunneler items that that component builds into. Very strong now when he's pushing with a cannon minion. And it means that, yeah, FPX can really struggle to clear out a wave as he's pushing it in. Dragon started up by Anyone's Legend, and FPX just don't contest. They give up one. They give up one. Instead, electing to go towards topside on the Baron instead. Dragon goes down. Anyone's Legend don't have the best vision on topside, but they still have bits and pieces. Talia will very proactively put down there, but it does mean that Talia is not on the Baron, giving the DPS. The ult's going to come through for a bit of a check, and Tarzan comes in but fails to get the steal. Has the GA, doesn't have to die in the front line here, can just revive. And that will be Baron for 1? Baron for 1, 4 members still having it. Sheer still flashing. Really not sure about that, and Care has to teleport. Great damage coming from the Talia. If Care makes it out alive, this is a different scenario. Can he make it out with his ultimate? No, he can't. He already used it before of it. Teleport, not going to be there for long enough either. The flip back misses. Care will just have a very elongated funeral procession under the top lane turret. I mean, Baron on 3 people, giving over a dragon. My worry now is that with Hullbreaker Yorick, making it harder to clear out cannon minions, I wonder I wonder whether even with the Baron buff, you have issues against the Yorick. However, getting the Baron against the Yorick is well, for yourself so you can control other lanes, is still obviously very, very powerful. They bring it through to a 6-dragon game. Soul very, very late for either team, of course. The attack speed and cooldown reduction for everyone on the map is absolutely disgusting, by the way. Even Braum likes it for stacking his passive in some of those more clutch scenarios. 3 Hextech Dragons? Yikes. Yeah, that's rough. 15% attack speed, 15 ability haste on top of everything else too. Yeah, very, very nice. If you get 4 Hextech Dragons, that's insane, man. FPX, credit to them. They haven't let the Yorick completely take over the game despite having a monstrous individual advantage. It's not really been about the Yorick. Not in terms of the game-winning plays. This was spooky, though. Tarzan, if he steals that, the game does end. That is spooky. You can see that the back line of FPX struggling to actually make a dent. Especially, I mean, obviously with Xin Zhao ult, it's Xin Zhao ult, right? When you're playing for double long-range carries, Xin Zhao is the great equalizer without even being Rumble. How's Jinx in the current meta? I feel like she's always strong regardless. It really depends on laning phase a lot of the time. She's actually more of a mid-game champion than a late-game one, really. Where she hits like 2 items, 3 items with an enchanter and she just goes wild. Obviously, when she's not with an enchanter, her game plan changes a little bit. Pushing with the Baron buff. Yorick on the other side of the map has 4 grubs. I don't think FPX win this map trade, by the way. They get in a turret. Look how quickly Flandre will take down this turret on bot side. They must teleport here. They know how quickly this will die. Talia goes down there. They do get themselves a turret, but they have to use the teleport to bail themselves back out. They won't have that teleport for the dragon fight now in 2 minutes. And this is why, you know, games like this, even though I think they are, even with even gold, look, they're in a precarious position, right? That's how I'll phrase it. FPX are a team which I have enjoyed watching this split. I think Shadow coming in has occasionally had some duff games, but I think that FPX needed a player like Shadow to call the shots a little bit. They have potential carries in Sheer and Care, who I do respect a lot, and assume, you know, he's been a journeyman in the LPL for a while now, despite me not necessarily rating him incredibly. FPX, strategically, have managed to play themselves into good positions even against good teams. And I've enjoyed watching that, especially against a team like AL. You know, they've come off of most of their prep going towards BLG, you have to imagine, so FPX have a bit of an inroad there. But still, not a bad showing from FPX. 4,000 gold up is Yorick. Built up the upgraded steel caps, or Tabby. Everyone still calls them Tabby. The feats of strength obviously going to add some extra scaling to the game. Hope has his boots as well upgraded. Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. Soul free the team. That's some very dramatic music in the background. What is that music in the background? Okay. Alright. 20 seconds. Bit late on the setup. Scouting out with Nico and Kai'Sa. Using both their respective Ws. Yorick walking down to the play. Remember, Yorick, again, not really a team fighter. Wants to be in a 1v1. See how Flandre can get someone separated, isolated out. This is not the best terrain, actually, and I mean, they're just going to try and burst the dragon. Use the ult, the max rank of the Talia. The blast cone might be able to help, but it's not going to be soon enough. Hextech Soul claimed by FPX, and maybe that is the moment. Fantastic Pop Blossom gives a lot of damage. The Braum goes down, and Assume goes into the backline. The sweep from Azir, doing some work. Is that enough? I think it might be. FPX, they used a great Nico ult, but no, Kai'Sa still alive. Flandre mopping up at the end, gets some healing, but he can't close the distance down. Hextech Soul for FPX claim. Tarzan gets one back. And Flandre, the last person alive, can't clean up. FPX claim a 5 rather, for 3 and take the Hextech Soul. They might have just won the game. Fantastic ults by Care. Care's ults on this Talia have been absolutely absurd. I think AL fell into that fallacy of fighting for too many objectives when it should have been the Yorick on the side lane. 5,000 gold on your Yorick is not meant to be used in the team fights. Does get good work down, does clean up some decent amount. It's really hard to Really hard to track what the hell happened in that fight. Permanent Hextech Soul now. Is that enough to win them the game? Great delay here. That ultimate was awesome. Of course, the max rank of your Talia ult has increased the duration. Sheer delays a little bit. They don't hit the backline here, but a double root does. Then Hope on the Jinx just gets everyone on top of him. Has a GA. The GA is obviously very, very important here. But you just can't... Well, as soon as that Pantheon goes into the backline, you just have to respect too many different angles. Can't do anything about Shadow and Sheer coming out their own respective GA and zombie form as well. Great play by Shadow to open up an angle into the backline. It would be so LPL to win against a top team like BLG and then lose against FPX, a team which we is currently 0-3 in the Ascension stage. Both ADCs were synced in Guardian Angel, yeah. I didn't really understand what the hell was going on in that team fight. Well, I was looking at one side of it, trying to see what happened with the Pop Blossom, and I didn't pay attention to the carries enough. I should have paid attention to more of the carries. FPX, couple of thousand gold ahead. Of course, in late game, Mandel's last. That Hextech solo adds some inimitable value. Once again, Taliril across the place, but now they can't rush that Baron. Not great from this time from Cat. He is my MVP for FPX if they do walk away from this, despite some of his earlier misplays and mispositions. He's had some good games recently. I think his Ari games have been good. We did say, hey, look, if FPX are going to beat AL, it's likely from Sheer or Care on a comfort champion. Talia, looking like that for Care right now. Baron getting started. No Talia ult this time. No vision either. Struggling to face check. Hextech Soul makes him... that is such a tanky side. Baron's going to go down. The Synod's going to disengage. And Sheer will get out for free. And once again, AL not really able to use the split pressure of the Yorick to do anything big. I think they should be playing around this. Oh, Hope has Gathering Storm. That's what they're pointing out here. We just went fast 40 minutes. Which means you get, you know, basically... What is it, 40 AD or something like that? Or is it 56? Look, it's a lot of AP. It's a lot of AP. I can't remember how much it is, but it's basically an extra item at this point. Elder, 2 minutes 40. Okay, so in 10 minutes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 48 AD. 48 AD at this timestamp. Ridiculous. Redunculous, some might say. I might say that. Well, well, well. Anyone's Legend thought they'd be able to outscale at some point. Hextech Soul kind of puts that into question, though, doesn't it? Care is so goddamn strong. So as assumed, 3,000 gold up, full build Kai'Sa. Doesn't have any extra gold to go towards him, though, and he doesn't have the Gathering Storm in the way that Hope does. Jinx will... Oh, Care caught out. We said he's very strong. 1v2. Very nearly takes down Tarzan. Could have flashed to confirm the kill on Tarzan, but I think he would die against Shanks after that point. Jigsaw very nearly killing. What's happening on the other side of the map? Anything? Shadow holding his ult, split pushing as the Pantheon. Can join the play at any time he wants. Teleport back in from Cat. Seraphs is down. Zhonya's is up, still safe. FPX crushing through the map, and Sheer is so hard to kill. Nico clone goes in and takes the tower shot and some skill shots. You can see the macro game is very hard to figure out from anyone's Legend now. Shadows, he caught out. Dash for dash. E comes through. That's an insane E from Shadow. Tarzan, his ult's down. That's the blood of their front line. What? This Sun's just going in full in. The Zoom jumps into the back line. What's happening with the carries? Hope jumped onto. What's happening on the other side? Dwayne's down, but that's not equal to your Jinx. Flundra goes into his GA. Shanks cleans up some bits and pieces. Cat almost goes down. I think the Maiden will take him anyway. So close. No, that Talia's alive. Talia's alive, but it's just Shanks. I think FPX might have done enough damage to see this out. Q dodged away from him. The burn will take him. But I don't know whether Shanks can get back to base in time. He can't. FPX, we thought they'd been outscaled, but they get themselves the Hextech. They get themselves the carries. Hope's Jinx gets no clean team fights in this game. And FPX move to 1-0 over the team that just beat BLG. Tristana in for FPX. So, I wouldn't call either of these compositions particularly coherent, you know? Both of them have got some strong individual pieces. You have the double demolitionist of Tristana's Zig, so if AL give up too many grubs or if they give up a Herald, I think FPX slam towers. They slam it like nothing else. Anyone's Legend on the other side. Decent tank frontline with the Poppy, the Alistair, and the Skarner. if they can close down a target on the side of a fight, a wall stun into Skarner over the wall as well. Alistair, the felt like they'd really achieved something, but they need to stick the landing here or rather get themselves into the air against FPX. Oh, a couple of FPX gyos in there. The thing is, it's unlikely to have... The thing is, the reason why some of the gyos are going to be less loud today, folks, is because Invictus Gaming are playing next. And they have such a huge fan base, and they have such a huge amount of following. Everyone buys out the tickets to see them. By the way, I did change away some volume and stuff again, so let me know how game sound is in chat. It helps me out a lot if you can let me know so I can figure stuff out. It can help quite a lot. So, triple teleport from FPX. The Ziggs is afforded that ability to run that. I think the Ziggs into the Varus is not a bad idea. In fact, something which Gilius was talking about. He made a TikTok about this of the Sivir versus the Varus. I actually think Sivir is a really good pick into Varus. If you can spell shield away the Q or the E, and then later into the game, like press your R button for the engage to come through. Hang on, Dre needs to be a little bit careful. It's Aftershock trade for Aftershock. Hope gets better early auto attacks, of course, than the Ziggs, but HP traded back and forth, but it's HP onto the AD carry, importantly here. If Assume can get himself another skill shot like that, suddenly Hope is half HP, and then you can start threatening onto that Varus itself rather than onto the Alistair. It's always better to take HP off of the AD carry than off of the support if possible. Dre losing a little bit too much HP there, I gotta say. They are winning the race to level 2, though. Wow, Assume really walking up aggressively. Gets another Q auto onto target. Hope walking up way too far there. Kyle can't go for the combo first. Assume and Dre, good for early level. If Hope had stepped forward into that, even though it was in tower range, I reckon FPX win that one, you know? What is the audience chanting about? At the start of every game, you'll hear one person in the crowd call out the team's name, say AL, and then the rest of the crowd, or the fans of that team, will say Jio, which means... basically means fighting or whatever when you hear it in Korea. Comes from, hang on a second, this Shadow walking in. Did he get himself a mini Krug there? A Raptorlet, not a Kruglet. Right, it comes from the Hong Kong racing scene apparently, Jio, which means to add oil. Made sense in the driving scene, but basically means, you know, it's kind of like you're fighting or let's go AL or whatever. But it's become a thing, so they do that 3 times and then the other team has a crack at it. So AL, Jio, AL, Jio, AL, Jio, and FPX. Or Fun Pluser. Jio, Fun Plus, Jio, Fun Plus, Jio. Shanks getting jumped on here. Has the W. No extra auto attacks will come on target. FPX, using control of their mid and bot lane well to allow Shadow at least an inroads into the jungle. Not leading to that much though. And that's a problem because Tarzan actually gets to go over and steal a camp over himself. Is anyone coming to respond to him here? Sejuani. This actually the jungle thing right now is probably the most important thing on the map. Observers, we need to see that one. Tarzan now going to get jumped on by Cat. Does he have to flash out? Flashes into the edge of Ixtal. Goes forwards. Remember, would have the passive here. Can he get it? He does get the damage down. I don't think there's going to be that much more than that, though. Double flash for mid-jungle for just the flash of Tarzan. Tarzan takes that. As long as he doesn't die, he's fine. There's only Krugs up. I guess the problem is maybe this buys double scuttle for Shadow. That's why Flandre is immediately walking into top river. Because he really wants to... Well, so he wanted to deny that, or at least get some eyes on Shadow. What's happening on the other side? Oh, Kyle's gotten into the brush here. Remember, no flash on Sejuani or onto Tristana. Flandre's around the back here. He needs to get the kill. He needs to get the reset. Oh, so close. So close, but not enough. First blood goes over to Flandre on the Poppy. Really intricate map movements coming through as, you know, Tarzan escaped with that summoner advantage in the mid lane. Shadow is trying to go towards the double scuttle, but then AL find another angle into the mid lane. Yes, they will lose that double scuttle, so Shadow is ahead in the jungle matchup, but AL come out ahead themselves, I think, really overall. Thanks for clearing that up. No problems. If you have any questions in chat, always let me know. It's good to chat to you. Shanks walking forwards again. Chooses not to go back onto that minion and clear that out. Gets the extra bomb damage onto him. Care misses an auto attack and loses some damage there. Assuming taking a lot of damage onto him now. Early lane went well for FPX. Do turn things around, though. Kyle, low HP. Ignite puts onto him. That's the passive, and the minions are still autoing. Hope has one last arrow, but that's it. Does he have an E? Does! Goes forward for an auto attack, but he doesn't get the kill. Now, suddenly Shadow's just around the corner. Can he Q and W? I think he could potentially get himself towards a kill here. So close. Hope committing the flash. Just missing the kill range. Poppy's Flandre is broken. It's pretty good, huh? I think Flandre's been on really good form this split. It's great to see such an old god of the LPL top lane doing well. Care still has control of mid lane. As you do as Tristana, hyper pushing for forever. If you get grubs, that's a problem for anyone's legend. If you give grubs over to Tristana onto Ziggs, you feel very, very bad. This is going to be 2-for-1 trade most likely. Well, I say that, Tarzan doesn't even get himself into smite range. Doesn't even contest for that. Maybe afraid of Shadow just immediately QWing him. You don't want to give up his life. 3 grubs over? That's a problem. You must fight for the second set of grubs now, and I think FPX, knowing that, can set up appropriately for it. And normally I'd say, well, you know, Dragon is typically better if you can stop all 6 grubs going over. You only need to take the one of them. By failing to take any grubs in the first set, FPX, I think they can give up Dragon's setup for whenever the second Dragon, second set of grubs come up. If that's appropriate for it. We'll see if the Dragon's still alive, of course. If they can get themselves towards 5-6 grubs with a Tristana and a Ziggs, go towards a Herald after, that's disastrous for AL. That's disastrous for them. Double Demolitionists in Corki and Tristana is not something to toy with. This is something that ruled the LPL in 2023. It was my first year casting the LPL, so I remember it fondly, and I'm maybe a bit biased towards that meta, because I remember it a lot, and I really try hard to try and understand that one. But if then suddenly you get Tristana or Ziggs left alone in any lane, Tau dives in a single wave. Anyone's legend composition is not that clean. Dragon goes over, but FPX, again, they're playing around grubs. They're playing around topside right now. That's okay. This is what we were talking about. Dragon goes down, FPX didn't need to force for that. But anyone's legend, I mean, what does their composition do? It CCs someone and then Nikali blows them up. They don't have consistent DPS. None at all. Flandre's going to get ulted. That could still be an issue. He has no flash. Shadow has ult, and he hits it. Oh, the Ambassador ult comes in as well. Aggro was onto Shadow. No chance of a kill. Flandre goes down. No one was coming to help him. I think maybe... Could he have just walked away? Maybe not. The charge wasn't that big from the hammer. Skarner and Poppy, but you call FPX a better draft. The thing is, I love Skarner and Poppy's individual champions, and I think that, you know, Poppy into technically 5 dash champions, the satchel from Ziggs counts as that too, is obviously very powerful. But where's their consistent DPS? You know, Poppy isn't that, Skarner isn't that. Akali hits one target, can sometimes clean up, and needs to be ahead to do that too. And Varus is poke, it's not DPS. Varus can sometimes carry these fights, for sure, he can do. But I'm very worried about anyone's legend when it comes to the team fighting. They're a good team. They're a top team in the LPL. They've given themselves a hard job, though. I think Tabe might have cooked a little too hard. Whereas on the other side, you know, Tristan is consistent damage. Ziggs is probably a little better at consistent damage than the Varus, because you've got lower cooldowns on your Q and stuff. But still, not the best there, right? I get it. Ambessa is more damage than Poppy, of course, too. Harder to do it into the likes of Alistar and into Poppy, but hey. Sheer has been a hell of a character. I think FPX are in a good spot now. 1,000 gold ahead. If they get themselves, you know, a couple of grubs from the next one, if they get 5 or 6 grubs, I think FPX are... I think they're flying. I think they're off the ground. Ooh, good damage from Flandre. Tarzan on top side. Has flash, has impale. Ooh, hook comes in. Here comes Tarzan. Is that enough? This is a big rotation up. Flandre does have flash, but is he going to have a chance to use it? I don't know. I think he just is. Tarzan gets a great impale onto 3, and that's suddenly going to be Assume. How the hell is Assume under turret? FPX cock up the dive topside. There's no else on Kyle. That's a bit of a problem, but here comes Shanks. Is that going to be enough to clean up? 2 for 1, rather. 2 for 1 in the top side. FPX somehow get their Ziggs under the turret. That is a mistake. 25 seconds till the Dragon. No, Dragon grubs, that's the spawn. Sheer misses his ult. Some misplays by FPX when they're in a great position to take over in the game. That's important. Now AL do have themselves much better advantage onto the setup of grubs. They need those grubs. Shanks getting kills is a bit of a problem for FPX because the Akali is part of the cleanup. If the Akali gets gold, AL can do some mad stuff this game. That's the out. That's the out. Grub's getting started. Can Shadow go over? Oh, get onto Assume. Has flash and he has barrier. Ship in top side. He needs to flash away and does do so. Can they get themselves onto the grubs? One is taken away. Is that enough for AL? So 5 grubs over to FPX. They stop the 6. That is important. The 6 is important for FPX, but they still get 5. I'm going to call that still strategic win for FPX, but it's not the full house. So what happened here? Just, well, gets wall stunned. Bad angle for him. She shouldn't be taking that easy damage. Hook lands. I mean, the Impale is absurd, right? What happens here? Oh, no. Assume satchels the Skarner into him. And Kyle. Ooh, great flash away from Assume. But Dwayne might have been left out to dry. Gets the Riptide. Shadows on top side. Shanks doesn't have his ult just yet. Kyle's doing his best. Impale comes through. Shanks is getting a kill onto someone here, I assume. Dwayne doesn't have the flash. Hope gets his ult. That's one down. And there'll be a second from the Akali. Mistake after mistake from Assume. Over pushing in the top side. Drags his team into the abyss with him. And now Akali is starting to get some gold. This is the point where I think actually FPX start to really sweat. I think before the Akali got to this amount of gold, I think you'd say, well, you know, we can play around grubs. We can play around a better DPS. Now I think it's a problem. Now I think it's a big problem. Slight gold lead over to anyone's legend. How is this remotely working for anyone's legend? Punishing mistakes. Tried and tested. Punishing mistakes. Massive overstay and overpush from Assume in topside. Massive overstay. That's the kind of positioning mistake you can't afford to do as Assume. It's like when Elk solo almost, I have to say Elk almost solo lost a game against T1 in World Finals, right? Overpushing as the Ziggs versus the Silas. Faker gets that solo kill. The game snowballs from there. Ziggs is one of those champions you must be absolutely certain your positioning is correct. Dragon, taken by FPX. No contest on this. Goes down. FPX need to find... I think the Herald is very important to them too, of course. The Satchel with Ziggs allows you to, of course, finish off the Herald charge. You have the 5 grubs as well. Flandre doing well in the individual matchup against Flandre from what we've seen. You see that FPX not really got the map positioning to use their grubs in the way that they want. Tristana's on the weak side of the map. Shanks has the chance to all in him as well. Very strong Akali. 5 Dark Seal stacks. That's an extra 20 AP on top of their base. It's only 350 gold, you know. So it's basically double value for the 350. So he's 350 gold ahead of the curve-ish. Goes up to about 700 gold ahead. Maybe slightly more than that. Kyle behind the Tristana. Could pop the ult, look for a tower dive. Spotted moving out of the brush now. A little bit worried for FPX because you need to find a way to start pushing up lanes. I will say that anyone's legend very good at lane assignment. On the whole, very good at using their resets to get a matchup which they can kind of eke out something on the map for. Herald in a minute. FPX mainly got control around bot side, though. Do they really want Sheer to just take a turret instead? I mean, you do want to use your grubs for something. If they can't win the fight around the Herald, obviously they shouldn't go for it. Do they feel like they can't? I mean, obviously Varus in a good point with the Ghost Blade. This Akali is absolutely destructive. So. Zor. Skarner with Heartsteel. Sejuani with it too. Both of them kind of online as frontline duty tanks. Dragon coming, Herald coming up now. I'm just saying dragon for every objective. Everything is now a dragon. It's like MTG all over again. Assume pushing him mid-wave. Poke trying to get some poke down. The poke you get now will matter coming into the Herald. FPX don't have the best terrain for the Herald. They're on red side, so they're stuck against the wall. Care will take care of this wave. Make sure that Shanks has to be, you know, paying respect to that. Oh, that's a good catch. That's a good catch. Care needs to be very careful here. That's half his HP. Can teleport back into the play, but needs to be careful with that kind of rotation. FPX not really approaching anything with many intent here. Tristana recalling. Ambessa teleporting towards the top side of the map will control that wave. Poppy ult hits the Sejuani, and FPX, it feels like they've been very lazy in their setup. Herald's going to go over to Annual's Legend, now the jungle's out of the picture. Would have felt like Jway should have been the one to walk up rather than Shadow. And while all this is happening, FPX don't choose to cross map. They don't choose to use those 5 grubs. Tarzan potentially looking for an Impale here. Assume has Flash. Might be able to trade Flash for Flash. FPX, I mean, that is the time where you show your macro chops. You try and get something out of you for 5 grubs. Or get the Herald. You do neither. Anyone's Legend, much better on that front. Poppy ult's good from Kyle. Not from Kyle, from Flandre. Not expected to be Kyle because he's a very good Poppy support player. And FPX feels like they had a real moment in the last couple of minutes to get something done, but they don't quite realize what they have on the map. Most of the next Shear's gone for the Black Cleaver second instead of the Shojin. Better against the Poppy. Well, Skarner too, late game too. Good damage from Shear. Maybe the Ambassador. Oh, I don't know. The Ambassador into this team comp is not going to do that much work, folks. I do struggle to see how that's going to work out in the way that they want. Shadow walking up. There is Flash on Flandre. Doesn't want to use the Q. Needs to wait that out. Oh, has to flash away. The ult misses from Shadow despite it being a point-and-click target. And Flandre punts them out. Big mistake by Shadow and Shear there. They're missing a little bit. Flandre gets out alive. Suddenly, that means that the Herald goes into mid lane instead. Yes, the tower does go down. Nautilus ult comes through. It's going to be onto 3 members. That is a huge Nautilus ult. Sheer flashes in, immediately punts it out. That's a problem. Teleport coming in from Shanks. Can Shanks get any kind of cleanup? Maybe not. Care can jump forwards. Flandre comes back into the play. FPX lose their mid lane turret, take top lane, and they take a kill with it. How much do they get off of this play, though? Shanks needs to try and clean up. If you can do, that's huge. Remember, they have the satchel for the tower execution, and they'll get it. It's one there. Punts Flandre back too, actually. Dragon available. Okay, so FPX finally do open up some towers on the map. Is that something they can realistically play around, though? Well, we've yet to see that. Shanks was so scary on that flank. Still think that Flandre should have died for free up in that top side. What happened here, then? Dre spots that Tarzan. Assume forced off the tower. That's not bad. That's actually okay, actually. Dre does very well here. And this is an awesome Nautilus ult. Hits, you know, the whole team. Sheer does, you know, flash into melee range of Ballister and get punted out of the fight. It's not the best played by him. But hey, he's contributing. Dragon up now. Annual's Legend holding position in the river. In this brush here, trying to keep vision control. Shanks. Ooh, that's important. If they get some good poke onto him, that can change things. Half HP on the Akali. Hits the E, and there goes the Alistair. Kyle sets up for a great kill. Another great play from our best support in the LPL on current form, and 2 kills swiftly come in for Anyone's Legend. FPX. Disrespect the cow. That should allow Anyone's Legend the ability to take the dragon. Stop FPX from cross-mapping again. Once again, FPX, they have the 5 grubs. They have great tower killing potential, and they choose not to cross-map. They don't go and push in waves and threaten AL across the map. This is one of the biggest differences between our mid-table and top-table teams in the LPL. Cross-mapping is so much more effective from our top-table team. Shadow is forced to flash out because of another great play from Kyle. This dude's been so exciting to watch over the last month or so. He's going to get his ult pop, does dodge away from that Ziggs, and goes in again. The Impale is huge. Shit is into the backline, and maybe he can do some work, but Shanks is here, doesn't have his ult. How much can he do without it? Care doesn't get wall stunned. Flandre needs to be a bit careful now. 1 for 2 currently because Assume got blasted. Now Shanks has his ult back up. Anyone's Legend takes him a while to get the dragon, but they get it nonetheless. They get a bunch of kills on their way out. Thank you, Leslie. Very kind words to you. You know, I'm not going to get all analysis perfect, but it's nice to muse about things and hopefully make things more understandable, right? I think particularly in the LPL, there's so much random gameplay stuff to talk about. And I think one of the key things when you are talking about League of Legends is figuring out whether it's right to criticize someone. You can always nitpick, but when you think about, well, you know, FPX, they are giving up control of various areas of the map. Being able to judge, is Kyle the best support in the LPL right now? A lot goes into saying statements like that, and it's not easy to say a blanket statement. But Kyle has been so consistently good. It's easy for him because he's flashy, right? He gets the flashy plays, but all of his work moving around the map with Tarzan as well. You know, the way that he was threatening people under turret, the way that he's been getting onto important targets and teamfights is very, very cool to see. I think Shanks on the Akali's had a great game too. We'll see whether he can clean up. Anyone's Legend, they're making it work somehow. Edge of Night on Varus is big, gives him a lot of safety. It means he can't get pinged by a Sejuani ult or an Ambassador ult too. Which is very, very important, of course. Well, what's next up on the table? Anyone's Legend, slight gold lead. Not huge, but slight. Randuin's Omen in from Tarzan. Ah, that's going to shut down Care so much. Care needs 3 items. He needs Infinity Edge and he needs Lord Dominates Regards. I don't think he gets that in this game. And that's a problem. The Tristana has not been allowed to go towards sideline turrets. Has not been able to use the 5 grubs. This is the problem, though. Hope has gone too far, and the Edge of Night doesn't help you if it is blown by everything in melee range. Shanks can't get himself into the play soon enough. Shanks may be able to get in for an ultimate. Doesn't get across the wall of his way. Shadow going forward to get in the Ambassador ult. Misses. Ah, shit, has not been great at accuracy on them so far. It is an important kill onto the Varus, and it forces Anyone's Legend out of their jungle. And Anyone's Legend make a slip up. This is a game of all time. Okay, so a kill over to Care. That's important. Any gold onto this Tristana makes a lot of difference. Which is why I've been, you know, they did get that top lane outer turret for Tristana. I don't think mid lane was theirs. I think that was shared between a lot of people. But Care needs to be in side lanes. Needs to be using these 5 grubs to be getting some value. Of course, players like Shanks were very, very, very good in that meta. It was Scout who I typically credit with the innovations around macro of that time. Yeah. And there's some really fun things you can do in terms of macro play. And there are a bunch of games I can talk to you about that. Hope just goes into a really bad position. I don't know why he had to stand up that far. You know, you're a poke Varus, you don't have to put yourself that close to Fog of War. Turns out there is just a... it's kind of a perfect storm of, oh crap, I've walked into melee range of a Nautilus, basically. Oops. Oh, so close from... So close from Shi. Why was Hope there, man? Hope had an awesome day yesterday. Today's not been nearly as good. Which is a shame. It is a shame. Atakan started up Anyone's Legends. Ruinous would empower their dragons. Once FPX get it, would empower their grubs. Trying to walk through Tri-Brush is a problem. Kyle has ult, and he wants to be a frontline. Keep them away from the Atakan. Shanks comes through, and he gets straight onto Assume. Oh, Shanks. Shanks has been insane in this game so far. Shanks Akali has been utterly absurd. Can get that R2 over the wall. Misses it, but he does hit the E onto Care. Force him to jump away. Anyone's Legend. Mission accomplished. Kyle holding the Tri-Brush. The most important thing about an Atakan fight. They get the kills. They get the objective. FPX, once again, walk up to a fight that they don't win. They're not cross-mapping. They're not getting good value out of their 5 grubs, which they fought hard for in the early game. I think FPX are feeling the need to fight far too much. Giving over an Atacon can be very powerful, can be a very big loss. It can be. But FPX need to use their macro. They need to use their grubs. Great flank angle from Shanks. This is what happens when you rush towards an area of the map. You walk over wards and you don't cover every angle of attack. Because they rush towards the tri-brush, it gives Shanks an angle into attack here, and he just completely wrecks the backline. The Ziggs has not had a good game. Assume good early laning phase, really struggled after that point. Oof, very nearly got on to Care there. If they want to fight a Tatakan, why do they not go through the river? Because they didn't have the time to. You have to push up a wave to do that. They had to rush towards it. They had no control over the map. Sheer currently 3-0-1. The Ambassador's doing a lot of work. There is over a 9-stack Dark Seal. Akali on the other side. I know it's something that I talk about a lot because it's the meme in the Magi's, and Magi's is by far my favorite item in the world. But when you get to 10 stacks on Magi's, I'm reminded that, you know, he's got a bunch of gold. The stacks of Dark Seal are not counted into your gold. Once you get to 10 stacks, you're about another 700 gold ahead, which is kind of insane. So he's about 1,000 gold ahead, even though it's not shown on the individual matchup at the bottom of the screen. The only way FPX throw the game is Triss. Wait, all AL 5v5s are unbeatable against FPX. The only way FPX throw the game is Triss split push. I really don't agree with that. They have 5 grubs and they have Triss Ziggs. Their split push is very, very good. So I do disagree with that, and I think we've seen plenty of evidence for that over time in the LPL, who's been very, very good at split pushing with Tristana and getting value around the map. So I disagree with that. And as we've seen, the 5v5s from AL have actually been very good. FPX have not been playing well in the 5v5. Thank you very much for the resub, by the way, Darkwall. Good to see you. XDD indeed. What are the win conditions for each team? FPX really wanted to get ahead with their demolition comp. Get the grubs early and force around them. They go really deep onto Shanks, who does double stasis, both ults, flashes out of the hook, and will fly back into the play if he wants to. Oh, Shanks outplays in the 1v3. Teammates come in, and FPX have just had their ankles not just broken, but shattered. Double kill over to the Akali. And the FPX wondering why they tried at all. What the heck happened there, FPX? You don't need to throw both ultimates on at the same time. Layer them over each other. Make sure the stasis doesn't come into that arm guard. Very, very valuable. FPX, I think they're a bit tilted from that one, folks. Flandre's not going to die here either. Oh, Shanks. What a play. The win condition from anyone's legend is because they don't have very much consistent damage. Their win condition is getting Akali enough gold and enough good angles so that she can kill the backline in every important fight. We've seen that Shanks has managed to get a lot of that. Oh my god, that's a good arm guard. But why are you throwing the Sejuani ult and the Nautilus ult at the same time? That to me counts as... It talks to me of panic. Desperation. And I don't think they have a clear idea of what they want to do in this game. Shanks has completely broken them. Completely broken them. Akali is way too relevant now. In every fight, in every 5v5, we've seen the Akali getting onto this poor Ziggs, the Tristana too. On the other side for FPX, what they really want to do is scale up with their double DPS carries. Tristana Ziggs, long range, keep the distance. And the way that they would typically do that is by getting gold from towers, demolishing the map, giving them good macro power play to play around dragons later as well. Shadow taking a surprising amount of damage from the Poppy there. FPX got themselves the 5 grubs. That should have been a win condition for them. Kaz now on the bot side, but now you're doing this now when you're behind the game. Look how quick you take these towers. Great, cool. And if you get enough gold as the Tristana, you can get towards the Lord Dominus Regards, and then maybe the Poppy and the Skarner are actually killable. Maybe you can play much more defensively at that point. Let's play for the Tristana range. Death Cap in for Assume. That's another important point too. Is there much magic resistance on the other side? There's a little, but it's not the most in the world. Does need it, though. Does need a Void Staff at some point. I agree, Vinicius. I do remember. I do agree with that. He says in Onivia's chat, in my opinion, anyone's Legends is so far ahead right now. All FPX had to do was wait, because Varus wouldn't do any damage to Sejuani and Ambessa, particularly in late game. I agree with that. It's a poke Varus. There is no consistent DPS, really. Varus can can do a lot of damage over time, for sure he can do, but it's not the same as having an on-hit or a, you know, more tank-killing ADC. But now you have Varus with, also with a swift, this is a separate point, Varus with feats of strength, swiftness boots, the swift marches. Very, very good at walking in for the extra arrow, because you have so much flat movement speed. With the Ghost Blade as well, you are very, very hard to deal with. Get hydrated? I will do, thank you. Where is Anyone's Legends macro? I think they want to group and force fights. I think that Anyone's Legend now basically they don't want FPX on side lane. So they want to group up, death ball a little bit, clear out vision. And the other thing about, you know, where's their macro and whatever. Because they don't have the grubs, they don't want to split pushing themselves. And they have Soul Point. I think Cloud Soul in this game is insane, by the way. They have the lower range composition, trying to close down onto the enemy backline. If Akali goes in with ult, there is no way that a Ziggs or a Tristana are getting out without blowing important cooldowns. Cloud Akali is disgusting in this game. Pops the ult, goes into the Shroud, and gets perfect position to chase you down. Very, very hard to chase away from that. Varus as well. Pops the ult. No way you're closing that champion down. Ooh, Carol dodges out on the Q. Does have his ultimate. Pops it immediately. So, remember, watch that Akali. Tarzan gets Buster shotted away. But Akali left alone to kill that. Well, not left alone. Sejuani, rather. Left alone to die. Tarzan, great angle there. Forces the... It was a satchel, the Buster shot, by the way. Satchel, I missed which punt away it was. FPX. Try an angle towards the dragon. Free soul for Anyone's Legend. Free soul for them. I want to see Shanks go back and get a Magize, by the way. If you get Cloud Soul and you get the Magize for the extra 10% movement speed, oh, you are zooming. Speed running into the back line. Level 18 on that as well. 2 levels ahead of Cat. Clean game from them. First game was less so. I don't think that they enabled their split push very well on the Yorick. Might have been just first game of the day, especially after such a long day yesterday. But still, worth calling out. They had last game yesterday, first game today, so quick turnaround for them. Someone questioning whether Anyone's Legend are that far ahead in Twitch chat. On Twitch chat, in Onivia's chat. I think strategically they are. I think the Akali is at a point where it's very hard for the Tristana and the Ziggs to play out their game. So while it might not show in the overall gold, they have the Soul. Akali is very, very fed. 10-stack Dark Seal, has the Zhonyas as well. I think Shanks can pretty much win any fight for Anyone's Legend, as long as he gets some damage onto Care or Resume. That being said, 3.5 items for Care. Care is actually getting a lot of gold, and of course did manage to... Oh, flash away from Shadow. Not the best, that. If the fight becomes about just hitting frontline, I think FPX win now, actually. Again, they're not so far behind, that's the game. That's the way it'll happen, but I just don't see that being very likely for FPX. Yeah, I don't see that being very likely. Hello, Sam. Dankeschön. As we see Jway, yeah, he's got a flash. Won't be able to use it. Goes down very, very easily. Anyone's Legend, much more clean game this time. Shank's incredible game on the Akali to punish FPX. I will say, though, FPX, I feel like they really have misused their early game. They've fallen into this position. They had 5 grubs, didn't really get the chance to use that well. Baron will get started up now. FPX will have their vision cleared by the Void Scuttle. Can they really contest? I mean, they're going to have to bloody try, but they're walking into enemy vision. Again, this is the difficulty of walking into an area of the map where you have not swept out, especially when you have something like that Akali waiting just in the wings. Care spots them now, but is it going to be enough to do anything about the goddamn Baron? No, it's not. Shadow's walking over, but it's going to be done just in time. Kyle uses his HP as a resource, delays the investment of FPX going towards that Baron. Gets the Baron 5 out cleanly.
Wow, that Akali is giga strong. Let's go in to see how things are going, and the answer is...
Not well for FPX.
No, not well for FPX, and
yeah.
I'm sort of looking at some of these breakpoints. This Akali is insanely strong, and I'm going, it's just another FPX 1-2, isn't it? And Shadow now in danger in the middle.
Oh, great flash and pale. Shanks goes forward, and look how much damage the Varus and the Akali immediately put down. Assume not the easiest time on the Rift for him. 0 and 5 on the Ziggs, struggling to make an impact. Besides the weight in the wallets, he's now become for Anyone's Legend. I don't think this is going to go towards an Elder, folks. The Cloud Soul makes it so easy to chase down. No, they don't have grubs, they have everything else they need to. The Varus Soul over the wall will add even more damage into Dwayne. He's lucky to make it out with his life. The Tremors very nearly pushing him down into the dirt. base is broken for anyone's legend, and FPX, they have not really had much of a chance to give up a fight.
I walk in 5 minutes and anyone's legend decide they're going to end the game in very short order. Sheer goes forwards and tries to Drake Hound step around, but unfortunately what is a hound before a dragon in the form of anyone's legend? Or I suppose more aptly a set of very angry pandas. Shanks will execute one more to go 6-0-9. What a showing from him, a triple kill to end out the day. Anyone's legend will make this series an even one and leave us with...
Very top side. Now, Aurora hasn't done that well in pro play this season. It's a target for Neferi to jump onto. Aurora does smash Gnar in lane. Gnar really hates playing against the Aurora. Gets burned down by something like the Leandries. I will say I don't want to see the Rod of Ages. This also locks anyone's legend into Galio, who's mainly AP, Aurora, who's mainly AP, Karma, who throws some amount of that back in, and then also the Ezreal as well, which I'd say about 30% of his damage is magic damage from his WE and R. So FPX, magic resist shred stacking looking pretty good. Merc treads at a premium hit. Looks like we're back into game now. Took a while, didn't figure out actually what the issue was there. Hey, onto Rift. Let's hear if the gyros are going to come through now. No worries, Fairy Tail. No worries. Gyro! 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 I turned the volume up. That's me. It's not one team being louder than the other. It's me. Okay, so question in Onivia's chat. Okay, guys, 1,000 grapes. One of them will kill you. For each grape, you get $100,000. How many are you eating? That's great. What the hell? We need a League Stories series. I do a couple. If you go over to, and I know this is an important game. However, if you are interested in the stories about League of Legends, I do a lot of that on my short-term video content. I did a lot of videos on my TikTok, including my favorite story in League, which is about the General's jacket, Samsung White Talon. If you ever have a chance to go read up the story about Dade, the General, that's very important. As well, Karma getting some damage down at level 1. Wasn't the ult Q. You still have that. Wants to get the wants to get the ult Q onto the wave and onto a champion if he can Kyle. David Seasick, I'm going to eat all of them. Guaranteed death. Perfect. Get him down in 1. FPX loses. I mean, I think anyone's Legends composition, pretty hard to play. Ooh, Zenith played level 1. I guess there's something there. The big damage from Leona comes around when you hit someone with an ability, and then your AD carry then hits them afterwards. Ooh, good double Q from Kyle. That might change the lane a little bit. They get level 2. A lot of this lane is about how much poke you get down. Thank you, Amber, for linking that. I appreciate it. Oh, Assume getting hit by both. The Karma Q slow makes the Ezreal Q much easier to hit. Doesn't hit that one, but this is why you pick the Ezreal Karma, and why in Fearless Draft we're seeing more of this coming back. Once you get through your Varus's, Kalista out the window, Misfortune, your lane dominant champions start to fall out a little bit, and Ezreal Karma becomes very hard to beat in lane. Yeah, you can also, yeah, so, yeah, I haven't put all of the stories onto my YouTube shorts, because some of them are too long, it's only maximum 3 minutes, but, yeah, there are a couple around there. You know, obviously about Ambition being Faker's first kill. You know, one of the things which Ambition brags about is that one day Faker will retire or stop playing or the game will end and Faker will have had his last kill. However, I will always be his first kill. That is just, there's something cool about that, man. Apparently Flame, his top laner at the time, wished that he played mid lane so Ambition could shut up about it because he would have been the one that was killed first. The things that we love. Lane pressure in bot lane for anyone's legend. Top lane fairly even right now, actually. Shanks getting dealt a couple of decent trades against him by Care. Rise stepping forward into the Winds of War quite nicely. It was in the Faker documentary as well. Nice. Yeah, I do a lot of Faker story times because he has a lot of stories about him. And honestly, people care about Faker a lot, obviously. Fun plus Phoenix is tanky. They are. I mean, Rise becomes quite tanky. On the other side, anyone's legend doesn't. Gnar can be a little bit tanky. Hang on a second. Glizzy in the bot lane. Imagine if you had like a hot dog themed rock band cover, which was called Thin Glizzy. That'd be great. It could be the dogs are back in town. Ha ha. That's so funny, Alex, you say, knowing that it's a fun joke on Thin Lizzy having a song called The Boys Are Back in Town. I saw them live, by the way. My first ever gig I went to with my dad. Thin Lizzy, Deep Purple, and Styx was the first bands I ever saw live. Well, technically the first bands. I saw McFly and Busted as well, but I don't think that really counts. Anyway, that was actually quite a fun gig as well. Whatever, rambling. In theory, had an angle, but hard to go onto the Ezreal Karma. Actually, a good chance they could turn around and kill you too. You need to be very careful with the Ezreal Karma early on. Thank you, chat. I know you definitely weren't coerced into saying that. Hope and Kyle, really good lane pressure. I assume he's going to pick some stuff up. Boots back for Joy. Hang on, this could be... Hang on, can Kyle actually go for a play here? I think they were thinking about diving, you know. I guess without the Ignite, it's a little harder, because you can't deny the full value of the heal, which of course is pretty powerful. Ooh, Joy using that heal. Or rather, I assume using that heal to get a bit of move speed. Heal for heal. There was a chance with Joy getting those boots. With full HP, he could jump in for a decent trade. Shadow going to the enemy side of the jungle. Looking for a Raptor steal. Ooh, who got that one? Shadow used the W. Does get out of that. Shadow. Putting some pressure down. Shadow and the Neferi, of course, got a crucial win over NIP to get them to this point, actually. Got them into this situation, but they could get towards the Ascent group. We were worried about them a little bit before that. Yeah, after the Pilky XDD, I don't know what your humor's like, chat. It's, you're sure something else. Right, Shadow walking around the map. No significant advantage gained for him just yet, but you can see how nasty the Neferi is into the Vi. Vi obviously functions well as a champion into most compositions, because even if there's one champion that can deny you an ult onto them, can't be said for everyone else. Neferi can W the Q in the early levels, though. It's really annoying when you're playing around that individual jungle advantage. Ooh, missing out on that Q. IKEA hot dog Neferi. Great skin idea. That being said, we still need Cassante first. Cassante. Wave is against Hope. He's getting minions. He's getting auto attack by those minions. He's gonna lose like another 50, 100 HP from that, actually. Not the best trade ever from Hope. We had some other funny ideas as well. I can't remember what they were. Ooh, shit. Gets himself a good trade here. We know that once the Leandrius gets built up by the Aurora, quite hard for the Gnar to function in that lane. For now, not necessarily the hardest. Ooh, flashing forward for the root, trying to get something out of Rasoom. Great shield of Daybreak from Jway stops the tether being completed. Shadow will get all grubs on top side. Dragon yet to be started from anyone's legend. Trying to think who benefits more from grubs. I don't think it's a clean grubs win game. That being said, we haven't really seen either team use the grubs that well, I suppose, in this series so far. Shanks slams the wave. Ahead in CS, actually. How the hell has Shanks done that? Wow, okay. Or at least even. Very surprised at that. Galio is not meant to be ahead in CS. That's a Chovy. Candy Cane. Yes, that's the Sam thing which he wants. Candy Cane. That's fantastic. Yes. Perfect. What do you think regular jobs would be the funniest for champions to have? You know, like theme park attendant. Someone like that. Who would be the depressed person waiting at Disneyland, waiting to you know, check you into a ride? Welcome to the happiest place on earth. It's got to be a Mumu. Has to be. Or Vex. Could you imagine? That old Morgoth Vex. Oh, damn. Shank's getting jumped on a little bit. I mean, Neferi does good early damage. Not enough lockdown. The thing about Neferi, doesn't do much besides damage. Gets hit by the Vi. Decent trade out. Needs to be a little bit careful here. But won't get the Raptor steal. Really wants to get some early gold. You see Shadow pushing for the individual advantage. Neferi, if she gets ahead, of course, incredibly strong. Often comes through kills, obviously, but if you can get yourself ahead in terms of early jungle camps, very important. Knight put onto mid lane. Jhin coming up. Has that ult as well. That's a good amount of CC, but Kyle body blocking for Galio. He will die, but his mid laner will live. Kyle giving his life for the cause. Hot topic, Vex. Yeah. I think the thing is, it feels like, I know it's an American thing, but Morgoth is a dying trend because Mauls are dying. Kyle, good on you for dying there. Saves Shanks, allows him to clear out the wave. More important that the Galio gets the XP and the gold than Kyle keeps his own life. Means that once again, wait, Yes, it is a kill over to the Rise. That is a problem. You do not want to be giving gold over to Rise if it's all possible. Battle Academy Vex? Yeah, that'd be cute. Dragon, still yet to be taken. Normally we see that Trader grubs and Dragon early on. Not the case here, though. Feels like anyone's Legend is sleeping. They played well through bot lane, and of course, Hope's got a decent advantage. One item is where this team really starts to click. Level 6 one item. We'll see whether they fight around the second grubs with that in mind. A minute until that happens. They should be able to get just about the one item. Maybe just after that. Depends if it's delayed a little. Rod of Ages. Oh, that's a good ult coming through. Neferi starts to play as well, but that might be too far. Shadow goes out of the play, and Galio comes to join the party. Shadow does not have enough HP, and that dog has been put down. Anyone's Legend pounce, capitalizing on FPX, going far too deep into the play, and suddenly has 3 kills over. Sheer even teleported, achieves nothing, and Shanks and Kyle turn the play around. Big problem here. Aurora left alone on top side. That will be a plate in top. That matchup of the Gnar versus Aurora becomes increasingly important as you get into the mid game. Early game, yes, it can be a bit of a wash, but for Gnar teleporting, achieving nothing, and losing a wave towards top side, it allows Flandre a little bit of an easier entrance in towards that mid game. It's not going to lead to that much, but it's a problem that you're losing just these bits and pieces here. This is the problem with the Neferi. Uses the W to get the damage out, but immediate shield coming through, gets the W, the ult W as well for their heal. Means that Kyle outplays, survives, and the easy kill that Shadow was looking for is just not possible. The rest of the team dragged into the fight, which they can't win. Sheer had the teleport, just didn't come through in time. Didn't get the reset on the Neferi ult. The W used for the damage instead of disengage. Didn't have a way to outplay after that point. And suddenly AL, that's a gift for them. Reverse Casticus. Kyle being a bro, more evidence for Nymaera to claim that Kyle's the best support in the LPL. I know, David. Kyle is really good at League of Legends. Now, I'm still worried about other LPL supports on a consistent level. Grub's fourth one's going to be taken by FPX. Gonna stop the, well, at least get yourself a might buff. Yeah, Kyle's great. Every time I watch Kyle, I enjoy watching his gameplay. Guy's very, very good. Moving around the map, being active in the early game, good in laning phase, critical for his teamfight CC as well. He's on great form. And it's no surprise. For people that watched him in LCK, we knew he was going to be good coming into the LPL, and now spending a couple of years here, he's really proved that. He's been an excellent player to watch. Whether that was, you know, on, oh, which of the other teams he was on? Was it WE he was on for a while? Anyway. It's really been exciting to watch for a long time. Jue, walking forwards a little bit. Hope around the corner. Oh, Hope is strong right now. That Triforce spike at this point with 1,000 gold ahead. Yeah, Hope is feeling great about life, actually. Especially having the cleanse. It's not easy for FPX to lock down the Ezreal. What FPX need to do is find split fights where the Jhin and the Rise can set up for the Neferi to do a quick reset and a kill. Kaz gonna get a plate up here. Good trade from Shanks, not gonna be the end of things, but you know, doesn't stop the plate going over. But I'm just really worried that FX aren't going to, because based on what we've seen in the series, I'm worried that FX won't be able to find split skirmishes quickly enough and finish them early enough before anyone's Legend managed to call in Ezreal, Galio on top of that, Aurora coming in, who's a very quick response time champion too. Even though they have Realm Warp and they have Jhin being such a long-range champion, I'm worried. I'm worried. Top esports for IG? Of course that's happening after this series. Who have I got? Top esports, clearly. Aurora forcing the flash out of Leona. Yeah, FPX do not want to be playing into big group fights. They need to find a way to split apart anyone's Legend of Find picks, but they're not proactively looking for them easy enough, I don't think. Hope gets to walk forwards and feel completely happy about things. I'm really worried about FPX. Good jokester, thank you. Some Dark Seals on the side of anyone's Legends as well to keep track of those stacks. Shanks going towards the Leandry stack. Well, it's probably the Riftmaker, actually. I was thinking that the Haunting guys always think about that. Oh, Hope, man. Yeah, he's doing a lot here. Reminder that he's so close to that Muramana mark. Yeah, gets it on 20 minutes. Quicker than you normally would get it. Muramana, he's just so strong, man. There you go. Muramana, 20, just before 20 minutes. Very quick. Typically see it 21 minutes plus for the Ezreal, but laning dominance plus some early kill pickups means he got to that quicker. Consistently hitting skills on the wave and auto-attacking when he had the Muramana. If FPX do not find a way to either take fights without Ezreal present or knock him out before the fight really starts to come to fruition, they will lose the fights. Ezreal will kill the entire team. This is why Ezreal is such a powerful pick in the current meta. It's hard to get access onto him, and the fights, the most important fights in the game, the ones around Atakan, the ones around 3rd and 4th Dragon, are happening in the middle of Ezreal's power spikes in this current meta. Often Ezreal is strong or weak depending on when the fights are happening. If it was a later game meta where we're actually fighting around 3 items, well then it's better to play around Sivir or Zeri. If you're fighting around 1 item, well actually maybe Lucian's better at that point. Especially when it was the Gale Force Lucian patch and stuff like that with the mythic items. Ezreal, as it stands right now, is in such a sweet spot where his late game is good, but also all of his important fights are happening at great moments in the time. And again, the Ezreal's starting to do damage. They're doing damage to Shanks, but that's not the target. Hope needs to be killed, and he's not. It's the wrong target. Jway goes down for free. Hope takes 0 damage, and FPX, you have to question whether they understand what is winning and losing them fights. Herald summon in mid lane. I don't even know if this hits the tower, you know. Shadow's jumping forwards, we'll see. But look at Hope can walk up and get some basic autos. Flandre dunks it all onto 3 people. And Shanks gets some extra damage on that too. The Herald is used as a getaway vehicle. But the crime is the one of them picking a fight against the wrong targets. Hope is even hit by a W, but he has Cleanse and he has Flash. They're doing this without their Vi. You don't kill the Ezreal. You don't threaten the Ezreal. You don't win the fight. Fun plus Phoenix. They have failed in that mid lane play. And are now against a Mountain Soul point. That's a problem, because those Mountain Souls, of course, and the dragons themselves are going to give them extra resists. Those resists are going to matter even more when there's shields. Think about it this way, right? If you have 100 resists, it means a lot more when you have 2,000 health to 1,000 health. If someone casts a shield on you, which is worth 500, and you have better resists from the map... Oh my god, Hope's just killed him. This Ezreal is set to take over the game. Hope, difficult Jinx game to start out the series. But this one is a bit of a special one, isn't it? Jway, caught out by Tarzan. Well, someone's caught out by who? They are I don't know about that one. Shadow goes in with the ultimate. And the Hound's Pursuit looks like it is going to... Well, actually, I say that. They get themselves the reset. Maybe we talk too soon. The Neferi getting some damage down. And Neferi starts to get some damage up. But they haven't killed the goddamn Ezreal. He keeps going forwards. And Hope is alive. Care less said about that, the better for FPX. They kill the Vi, but they don't get the Ezreal. That is your golden opportunity. They get a kill participation from the Neferi, but it's onto the wrong target. And just as we've been saying, ever since that 20-minute mark when the Muramana transformed, FPX must kill Hope, the AD carry. They failed to do so. And he also keeps going forwards and assume he doesn't have summoners. And guess what? He's got no HP bar either. Flandre finds himself a great opening. Another kill to the Ezreal. 502. 2.5 thousand gold ahead of Assume. This Ezreal is God mode. Ooh, that's our replay, isn't it? That was nasty as heck. Look, Sheer gets good value, but it's not onto the Ezreal. He still has Cleanse and Flash. Even if you hit that ult on him, he's likely going to live. I mean, I don't want to make it too oversimplified, but it's pretty obvious, folks. If Ezreal lives, he wins the goddamn team fight. I love it when it's easy like that. A Shojin already? 3 items at 24 minutes? Jesus, man. Now, this is an important thing. Once you hit level 13 and you have Shojin, for those of you that remember the G2 versus BLG Ezreal game, this became very important there. Once you hit Shojin plus your 2 other items, if you hit 2 Qs after your E is down, it's back up. And your Q is on a 1-second cooldown. You have an E if you're accurate every 2 seconds, or just more than that. 2 or 3 seconds. Depends how much space is between your Qs being hit. So now, not only do you need to catch the Ezreal, you need to kill the Ezreal within, I would say, 3 seconds. Or he will jump again, and you do not get to catch him after that point. Not with this composition. Now, I could analyze a bunch of other stuff. We could sit here and talk about, well, you know, the Vi value and disrupting the combo, whatever. Realistically, if you want to understand this game, it's about how much value the Ezreal gets. Teleport away. She will survive in that side lane. This is why Ezreal is so goddamn strong. Ezreal G2 through that game. Now, the thing is, I actually think that once it got to late game, and once you got that Shojin, you had the QSS and the cleanse for Elk in that game, honestly, it was very hard for G2 to win anyway. They were very good at putting Realm Warps on top of Ezreal's head, but I actually think the only reason that game was close is because Elk made a lot of mistakes. Because he, I did a VOD review of that game, by the way. You can look back on my YouTube video channel. You can go watch that through, reminisce about those games, and see what you think about the analysis of that game. I do that for a couple of games. I haven't VOD reviewed as much this year because I've just not had the time, folks, and the energy. But hey, I have a couple out there for posterity. The Fury pick was bait. Well, I think it's easier to say that now because it's behind the game. I think that FPX, if they'd taken some earlier split skirmishes and not gone into 4v4s, I think maybe they could have walked away with stuff a little better. Creative Realm Warp here. A Jhin W onto an approaching target there. I think FPX could have got some earlier gold, but I don't think FPX's macro has been that good. I don't think their choice of fights has been good this series. And I think you can tell that Anyone's Legend have a much clearer idea of how they want to pick fights. Atkan's up and available. Dragon's up in 20. Anyone's Legend have Soul if they take that Dragon. And still the same question is asked from FPX. What are you doing about Ezreal? Through the Galliwall, through the Karma Shield. You don't have yourself a Serpent's Fang yet. Shadow's going to build that up next, but it's not here for the Soul fight, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Once he gets that, we'll be able to deny some of the Mountain Soul shields if they come through, but there's still half the shields there. Flandre on the side. Level 16. Yeah, there's hit from Sheer as well, but I think Flandre being so strong. Yeah, he'll nuke some people in the backline. Level 16 for Shanks as well. He'll get an extra shield from that. And they catch out Cat. Oh, that's a problem. They need their eyes to be strong. He uses his flash. Shang on Tarzan, buddy. You're now alone behind enemy lines. Flashes out of the Leona ult, though. And they have a Galio. And once again, FPX cannot find themselves the right fight. And Hope is free hitting. It's not going to be another kill. But without Shadow having any sort of platform to play around, this is an easy Mountain Soul. Tarzan, fantastic pick in the enemy jungle. I thought it might be a bit risky, but he goes away with it. FPX, what do they do? Shadow's recalling. They will give over a free Mountain Soul to Anyone's Legend, and on top of that, I'll give him a goodie bag of a kill as well. Care on the rise. Sadly not making an impact. Well, if he is, it's into the wallets of Anyone's Legend. Tarzan, what happened here? Oh, spots him walking over, sees the path walking over, hits him with a Q. Yeah, it's pretty much over at that point. Gets the Armor Shredder ready from the W, even more damage on the ult. Ezreal has to be flashed away from, which means there's no flash available to dodge the Vi Q. Short range starts to do that anyway. Of course, the tenacity of the Merc Treads means that CC chain not easy to land too. So Mountain Soul. Mikhail's on KL. Do you reckon we could do the really bad Superman voice acting? And if the Karma gets something wrong, say, Kal-El, no. Oh, God. All right, Baron's going down. Anyone's Legend. Trying to stop FPX from heading towards that objective. And again, the Ezreal is causing huge issues. Flandre, that is way too much damage. The Leona ult gets nothing done. And Shanks is tanking. Oh my god, the Ezreal ult shreds him in half. Cleft in twain. FPX fall apart around the dragon. Flandre walking forwards again, has so many tank stats. Tarzan goes on his own because he knows he also has way too much support behind him. The E comes through from the Vi, and they won't even need a reset.
They go off for the Baron, chase him down in FPX. It was a good game one, catching AL sleeping. But after that, it has been all anyone's legend. Coming off of beating BLG, they will have 2-1 series in 2 back-to-back days as the Pandas march their way forwards. Anyone's legend used to be awesome logo. Now they are just absolute legends from finals and split 1 on great form right here at the top of LPL's Group Ascend. Kyle, no.
So, there's our team comps. 369 going towards the Aatrox into the Scion. Can bully out the Scion. Be a pretty good lane for that Aatrox. The front to back is there from That is a mighty IG roar. Top Esports doing their best to respond, but you can hear whose fans are hearing. Nameplates off. Whose comp do I prefer? Oh, it's quite hard. I think they're both relatively even. As you can see, it's statistically pretty similar. Both teams want to play in very similar ways. I think I somewhat agree with the slightly better later for Top Esports, just purely because the Ezreal and the Talia range makes things a bit trickier. 369 will be a little bit harder to manage in a side lane. But I think a lot of this is going to be determined around those objective fights. Just inevitably at this point. Nothing super crazy about this early game. Any weird runes? No, not really. Yeah, the Shy's gone for Grasp. Can't see it under his Soul Furnace stack. Slightly annoying with the way the LPL overlay works. Hello, not the best. Good to see. Okay, chunk onto Crisp. Not too much more. Not the best, probably best not to, if that's okay. I think for people who have not watched the LCK games, best not to give those ones away. Obviously, we heard about the Diana top being not so great, and I think people can probably guess how it all went. But we'll let people view the games themselves. At least leave it till tomorrow, so people can go figure out what's going on. I don't know why a 0 MF is considered low damage, not gonna lie. It's not. But sometimes it needs a bit of better setup, right? MF later on into games can get into this weird position where her range isn't fantastic. She's not that mobile unless she has strut up. So she needs a big ultimate, and that can be hard to guarantee unless you've got really big lockdown. You've got the Vice, that's a lot easier. We've seen a lot of MF angles where she just doesn't get the big ults off later on, and it gets a bit tricky. But you have still got the Azir, and that's decent damage, don't get me wrong. But the mobility, the consistency of the Ezreal until it can be a bit trickier to manage. The honest answer. even the Aatrox, right, and the Shin's out, you've just got a little bit more consistent damage, a bit more mobility, so you can throw down the Ult Scarlet, stand still and hit no one, or someone for 8. Of course, do things like the Strut, things like Bloodthirst and stuff help with the MF, don't get me wrong, it's not like she is low damage, it's not always, as I said, the most consistent. Cream and Rookie trading out there. Nothing super surprising there in terms of the runes. Cream with the phase rush, but often is that way on the Taliyah. No one really spotted out. Well, Gala's gone for this lane swap a little earlier. We'd probably set up around these grubs spawning in about 20 seconds. Ezreal and Taliyah versus Braum Sire front line. Any front to back is a disaster. Aatrox and Xin Zhao help there. And Taliyah with the Liandry's build isn't actually as bad a tank killer as you think. The Shy can be a bit of an X factor here, but he's not going to have a great time into this Aatrox. And you have got enough damage here, I think, to manage it. I agree, if it becomes about just the Ezreal and Taliyah, there is that. The other side of that, though, is how on earth are you going to touch this Ezreal and Taliyah on a regular basis? The Vi helps, and the Vi should be a good starting point, but it means Kanavi, not joke, Kanavi GG. I'm so used to Kanavi being on the Vi. Needs to find a good angle then pretty consistently. Not that it's undoable, right? Don't want to give that impression over. We can go towards a Liandry's build here, a little bit more HP to work with. When you are into things like the Xin Zhao and the Leona and the Aatrox, bit of safety, bit of burn can be pretty good. Especially when maybe the Nash's Tooth is going to be a bit riskier in a game like this. At least first. No one's... We have had that trade of first set of grubs for Dragonfly. I say no one's traded objectives and then was entirely wrong. IG with that early dragon. Sion yells cowards and screams towards the turret. Alternatively, if the Aatrox gets ahead, Braum and Sion kind of become meat bags for him. Yeah, that's kind of... Kyrovan, that's kind of my worry. And the Xin Zhao's not bad in that regard, and then I suspect we'll see a Liandry's from Taliyah, probably second. So then you got burned there, and then Ezreal hits 3 items, and he's not as bad in the tanks as he once was. And you know, exactly, if it was just Ezreal and Taliyah, then you get a bit more worried. But it isn't. You've also got the Xin Zhao and the Aatrox. So you have got tools there. It does make a really interesting game, because it'll be very dependent on who gold ends up on as to how the game ends up shaping out. Which is quite unusual in some ways. In terms of seeing it all plays. Rookie. Hit by the wind becomes lightning, and the threaded volleys continue to go on through. Seismic shove forces the flash. JJ goes on forward, but just before the unraveled earth, but now can't escape because he's stuck on top of it. JJ desperately low. Nearly alive. Flash on forwards could be used by Cream, doesn't burn it. And JJ gets out alive, but both the mid and jungle down those flashes. Seismic shove across the unraveled earth. Tries to get on top of Rookie, who goes down. There is no defense even with that stand behind me. Braum knocked up. Mako trying to run away, but will not be able to do much more. They get that kill. Cream out of mana, but the damage is done. Flash is burned. TES hold their own, and they get first blood onto Cream. Nice play in the mid lane from them. And that's just great. It's just great. One of these days I'll have enough of that one as Rookie ends up in a really tricky position there. Tried to outplay it with the Divide, didn't quite do it. JJ, on top side. Looking at 369. That's World Ender and Flash. There's the ult available for the Shy. Gonna go looking for him. World Ender used. Flash away. Drags JJ under the turret. The Decimating Smash will come on through. Into the Glacial Prison. Not Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure. The turret of the True Shot Barrage gets one! Now the Shy is low and 369 survives. Great ult from Jackie Love. And the dive goes really wrong. Flashed under tower and JJ suffers for it. Oops. Bot side. Gala ults the wave. And that's about the end of that. Oh no, the Shy is now in danger. Solar Flare to prevent him backing. 369's already back, having teleported. Won't do too much more. The Shy still has that TP, but is going to be delayed. Actually forced to back way away. Jackie Love in danger, but has the Arcane Shift out to safety. The MF ult didn't kill the cannon. Oh no. I was wondering, why are we showing the MF ulting this? It's like, didn't kill the cannon. I should have known. It's the LPL observers. Well, 6 scrubs looking like they will be top esports. 369 claims another plate. Now up 600 gold. And we got 40 seconds until that second dragon spawns. Kanavi will reset. We'll see whether they want to play for it. Look, he gets this wave shoved. His Cream goes, yeah, I need to leave. And does so. Rides the wall, baby. Rookie at least gets a second plate. Let's have a look at this replay. So 369, World Ender. Flashes away just as the Shy comes on in. And as the cease and desist is already targeted. So gets dragged under turret. JJ tries to get out of there, hold the aggro for as long as he can, but that True Shot Barrage clips all 3. Honestly, 369, a little unlucky not to have another Q up to keep Sion stuck under that turret. Might have died to the zombie after, but damage is done well. Gala can carry. Did I use the Keck W correct? Or the Kappa rather correct? Yes, you did. Well done. Good emote usage. Over towards the Dragon we go, and it is top esports who will be there first. That would be Feats of Strength nearly confirmed for them. Get that 3 objective markers, and there we go. Wind becomes lightning into a smite, secures it. Maker going to try and zone off top esports from an easy return to that lane. Tags with the Winter's Bite. Chris body blocking anything more. JJ is around. Won't pull the trigger there. And is able to claim most of the wave is Jackie. .369, trading up with the Shy. Hits that Q3. The Darkin Blade. I love how the LPL observers zoom in on misplays. Yeah, they do. It's great. It's great. They're savages. A lot of them. Particularly on missed cannons. Generally speaking, if you're not sure why there's a replay or a little picture-in-picture, it's because someone missed a cannon. LPLs have mastered the art of a silent haterism, very much so. There's a lot you can do with a camera angle. Gold lead, just about top esports. I say just about, it's 1,000 gold. Significant at this point in the game. 40 seconds, 20 seconds rather, left on plate timers. Rookie forced to flash from that solar flare, and Cream would like to get this plate before it dies, or before that timer goes. Seismic Shove not burned, and there is that plate secured. Nice little pickup for top esports. Size fed on the Seismic Shove. Good work from Rookie. Overcomes the rest of IG to defend. And no one really pulls the trigger as yet. We've got a couple minutes really until our next big objective spawning. Herald in about 2 minutes. Dragon in 3. So it really is about playing for lane pressure. Probably playing for first turret. Probably the next aim of the game if people can find an angle. The Shy hit with the Infernal Chains. 369 takes 3 turret shots to do so, though. Delays The Shy's recall a little bit, though. Might allow for another wave to be shoved in by 369, who's enjoying this Black Cleaver spike quite a lot. Resets himself. Gets a tunnel. Gets to walk back to lane. Herald in a minute. Ult away from danger. Now, 369. Maybe slightly under threat. Safe enough under the turret. Does Adakan boost Voidlings as well? Yes, he does. Only if, of course, you get the Voracious version. But yes, he does. Carl cash up. There we go. Misfortune gets that one. That's nice. And in fairness, Carl had a decent point in this game. The Bloodthirster done. Jackie Love forced to flash as the Make It Rain landed. Trying to get some poke down ahead of this Herald and gets punished for it. Nice work from IG. Slightly overeager there from Jackie Love, not going to lie. Still, he's the Ezreal, so a little safer. But now, much easier target for JJ on this Vi to punish. But Kanavi will head on forwards. Rookie's here first, though. Weaver's Wall going to split him off a little. Now going to get the start of the pull back. Gets that damage onto Mako. 369 looking to get onto Rookie's. Forced to slide away. Gets the soldiers out, though. Kanavi flashing for the knockup. Dies in trade. They get two, though. Rookie in danger. Trying to get out to safety. Seismic shove. Sorry, Emperor's Divide onto 369 as the Shy is pulled back on the other side. Jackie will hop out of the bullet time. It's a 2-for-1 trade in the end for Top Esports. And a teleport to that top lane. Well, that is already first turret for Top Esports in mid lane. Sorry, bot lane. They'll get another top. They've got feet to strength. Herald stays up. No one wants to stick around and overplay for that one. Let's have a look at that one again. Starts just after Jackie's had his flashbone, and Kanavi and Chris say, I think we can have this. IG think they're there first, but Cream has the Weaver's Wall to cheat that priority. Pull back onto Mako, flashes out to safety, but only for a second or two. Jackula forces him to go the other way. Gala's body blocking for him, but it's giving 369 a lot of free time. Gives the rest of Top Esports a lot of time as Gala had to flash away. Onto the Dragon we go. Kanavi picks up on him. JJ dies on the contest. Fumbles that one. Mako will say, stand behind Braum because Braum needs to get away to safety. The heart is not the strongest muscle if it has a heart attack, as I will stop with the Braum impression. Top Esports very much in control of this game now. Second Dragon, 6 scrubs. 2 of the turrets. And kills going wherever you care to look. Invictus Gaming looking a little dizzy here in this game. Every fight has been read very well. They just get the kills on that one. It's a bit of a rough contest. I get why they're thinking about looking for it, but there's no Azir there, there's no Sion there, and you're in a 4v3. It's rough, it's rough, it's rough. Now Jackie at 301, Cream at 203. This Aatrox 30 CS at 1,500 gold ahead. Oh my days, this Aatrox is the world ender. Now more Braum impressions. That was hilarious. See what we can do. I need a Lowy in a game with Braum, because Braum's interactions with Alawi in Ruined King are some of my favorite things in the game ever. Also with Misfortune, actually. It's because it's Misfortune's like, you know what should I name this new ship we're going to sail on? It's like, the Charming Lady. And then Misfortune's like, Braum, you lady killer. And it's like, Braum gets incredibly flustered. It's wonderful. Basically, Braum is an unintentional flirt. And as a result, he gets teased by MF and Alawi relentlessly. And it's very, very entertaining in a gentle kind of way. Also, Alawi tries to get Braum into bed, and Braum has seasickness, so instead of going to bed, he throws up. and fumbles it by virtue of his stomach failing him. But there you go. Braum's got the Riz, guys. That's all I'm saying. Canonically within League of Legends. Like it's not it's very funny. Easy game. Kind of is a little bit in the minute, isn't it? I'd like to say otherwise. You just like me, for real, for real. The power of a mustache and a kind soul. Because JJ having a bit of a washed. I don't think that's fair. I think actually JJ has been really good. He's had a rough couple series. I'll give him that. I don't think JJ has been his best the last 2 series. But I don't think that's entirely fair. I think Mako's been a lot more hit and miss. I'll give you that one. But I think JJ has genuinely been one of our more consistent junglers. The last week withstanding. Knavi gets knocked up. Glacial Prison comes on down. Smite comes on through. And the wind is going to become lightning. And Mako just can't stay safe. IG! What's going on with the comms? Braum's clearing wards by his own red buff. And the response time is just way too slow from IG. The problem is, no one else really wants to be clearing wards at this point. JJ's clearing camps on the other side. Trying to give some safety towards Rookie to get a bit of a push on. And the Weaver's Wall punish is pretty rough at this point. It's one of the things that Talia gets to do, right, is if you do get vision, your ability to just jump on people in the jungle is very, very high. So, 15 seconds on Dragon. Let's lock in, folks. Here we go. Gala gets the make it rain down. Top esports in the river first. JJ gets jumped on but flashes away to safety. In comes the shy flash from Jackie Love to get over the train. And at least JJ drives to try his 369 TP in. The world is ending. But that Empress Divide, phenomenal for Rookie. Crisp goes down. They've lost the jungler as well. Knavi out for the count. 369 can't finish anyone off. And IG get value. Gorgeous stuff from Rookie and Gala to survive. And despite Jackie's initial heroics, he goes down as well. And that'll be a denial of soul point. IG with a great fight. Unfortunately for them, Atakan on the other side of the rift. Still able to turn it into that as well. Let's have a look at the replay, because the fight ended up very, very split. I thought 369 flank angle was going to be fantastic, but Rookie Shuffle gets everybody who's piled on top of him and gives them the space to survive. Jackie, despite that flash on over, gets jumped on himself. And can't outplay any further. A lot of shutdowns come on through. They get a turret. They bring the gold back to only 1,500 gold different. So, starts off with what looks like JJ overplaying. The Zenith Blade lands, but he flashes out before any additional follow-up can come on through. Jackie outplays initially, but then he's caught in a 1v2. Tries to jump away, but flash for the Soul Furnace pot gets Jackie in a lot of trouble as the Decimating Smash comes on through, just dies. On the other side of that play, that Emperor's Divide is excellent. Gala's still in an okay spot with the Bloodthirster, and 369 tries to run on out to safety, and the damage is done. Great play from Rookie. Nice punish from the Shy, who, despite having his initial engage dodged by a good flash from Jackie, his follow-up flash to get that Soul Furnace pop, which is a lot of damage on time with 840 stacks. It's just too much for Jackie to hold on to. The problem is the mid-tier 1 still falls, and they burned a lot to make that last play happen. Turret still standing, can't finish it off. Mako chunked, but no one else falls. Oh, they will still lose, but not before throwing and coming back at least 2 times. That's IG. We've seen their ability to just team fight out of nowhere. They're really good players. But some of the comms have been problematic, and we know from interviews with the players that there's been disagreements with how they want to play out the game. It's led to some issues with comms and placements and rotations. When they are on the same page, you can see why people still love this team. Great punish on the top esports. Again, top esports still in command. They don't get soul point. They aren't snowballing this to inevitable victory now. IG hold on with more than just their fingertips, and that's important for them here. To clarify, top esports still very much in control. You still got this Giga Strong Aatrox. You still got a Talia, very, very fair. The Ezreal's at 2 items. Jackie in danger here. Gonna get cease and desisted. There's the Braum passive on him, and Jackie will just die. Turnaround, though, as they try to find a play. Crisp about to get charged onto with the unstoppable onslaught. Mako, half HP, but it's now a 5v4. Atakan is there, and they have no AD carry. This is a fight that IG could look to take. Kanavi still here, though, with that ability to steal. Hard to keep a Shinto out of the pit. Weaver's Wall denies a bit of time. 20 seconds on Jackie respawning, but he's not going to get hit anytime soon. Mako now in danger. Bullet time, onto 2, but into the backside goes Crisp to interrupt it. 369 has popped the wall in, but Crisp is now in danger. Atakan secured! JJ gets it, and that sets up the fight beautifully for IG. They've got those withdrawals to work with, and Baron's alive, and they've just killed the jungler. AD carry's not on the rift. I think they could just turn to the big purple worm. Shove from Cream, trying to deny something here. True Shot Barrage is blocked by the door going up from Braum, and IG are right back in this game. They have a gold lead. It's only 100 gold, but of course they're here to play. And the damage is a bit rough there. That's a very funny Scion sound. They don't have the same effects on him, so he just sounds like a sort of slightly codgery old dude charging on in. So Weaver's Wall tries to buy time, doesn't quite work, and then top esports think they can pull the trigger. Even the 5v4, they try to jump on a Mako, but he gets away. The bullet time zone's out on the other side, and JJ gets to finish off the Atakan. It is a flip, but it's a 1 flip by IG. They kill off the Leona, so Crisp is already down. Mako gets Kanavi, and now you've lost your support. You've lost your jungler. Baron's there for the taking. And IG, 2 really good team fights in a row, earns them everything they needed in this game. So many structures up for the taking as well. Leads them to a significant goal lead at this point in the game. And look for that tier 2 bot. Continue to extend this gold lead. Gala now in particular, 3 items, 2.5k ahead. Very, very strong. 369 can look to try and trade with the 6 grubs for that tier 2. That'll be soul point for IG as an additional prize to this Baron. Still a minute and a half to go. Can reset and look to shove out some additional waves. 369 will Umbral dash out to safety. Pops the World Ender as well in case that additional people would be coming over on the rotation. JJ was looking, but 369 with that additional move speed going to be a little bit too hard to catch up to. IG's fights have been pretty good, but man, it feels like nobody's calling sometimes. A little bit of that. Oh, hang on. Shove on to Mako. He's going to fall, surely. JJ coming over. Rookie's around. But there's nothing really up to get for that. You've killed off Mako, great. To what end? It's just a kill, nothing more. There is no Baron, there is no Dragon. There's no towers to get either. So Mako kind of okay with this death. It's annoying, not the end of the world. Well, we'll head on over towards a little bit more of a slower paced moment. Victor's Gaming, Soul Point now. 3 minutes until Soul. It's a decent Baron earn from IG. But Top Esports trading back some turrets. A little less clean than I think they were hoping for. Interesting. Jijo's spites have been unreal. Yeah, he's had some really good contests. His Lee Sin still on the Baron pit the other week was wild. Wild. Oh, hey, we're good to see you. IG's keep recovering when behind. That or TS is flunking. A little bit of both. Also, IG are a good team, so that's helping, right? Jackie's going to be very annoyed about how he got caught up a couple times, actually. He's been very aggressive looking to position for poke. He's been punished multiple times by getting caught by Braum keys, which is really not acceptable. I think his 2 deaths have been a bit problematic, honestly. 3-6 for all. He's got this massive individual lead. He's not really found a team fight angle with this Aatrox yet. And the Shy, definitely not bouncing this game, hasn't died. And is behind goal. And there comes the Weaver's Wall, trying to split people off. IG now caught, split out. The Shy on the other side, looking to re-engage. Full contact, League of Legends to the backside. That bullet time over the wall from Gala as well is phenomenal. Invictus Gaming punish the attempt from Top Esports, who are just out of time and out of damage there. The Shy keeps too busy. Gala flash into the bullet time, breaks the ankles of Cream in 369. You wondered why Gala was playing the MF. He's been having games like this on the champion. Picture perfect. Oh, I hope we get the replay there. Baron's just spawned. Gala and Rookie gonna 2-man it. Overcomes the rest of the squads. It was looking so good for Top Esports. And 3 awful team fights in a row, and Invictus Gaming will likely be winning this first game. Let's have a look at this one again. They see Gala and think, we can pick this. Seismic shove just wide. At this point they go, I think we can still pull the trigger. Cream looks at the Weaver's Wall angle. And it's going to be trying to make this a thick wall. But Gala flashes just in time to get to the other side of the Weaver's Wall and then gets to bullet time. Mako survives, so there is no reset for 369. Ocean Soul now available with the Baron. IG in a great position this game. Gala down the flash, though, could be problematic. Keep your eyes on Gala. Does he survive this play? Another Weaver's Wall. Splits the fight. The Shy now caught on the other side, but it's body blocked by the Shy. Knock up onto Cream, who's bounced into a grave. That knock up comes swiftly back down to earth like a wounded angel. He's fallen into grave times. Jackie trying to play out with a Rookie, who flashes on forwards and sends his minions forth to claim the life of the Piltover Explorer. It is Ace. It is Ocean Soul. It will surely be game for Invictus Gaming. A rough early game. So rough, we thought when it was Top Esports to lose. And lose they have. MF will end 6-0-7. 4.3k ahead on this misfortune, who has been banking in. The Pirate Queen will help lead Invictus Gaming to a Game 1 victory. Hello folks, sorry on my slightly delayed return there. Most of the way through draft. Top Esports get themselves the Neferi for Kanavi. Lockdown in the form of this Rakan and this Ryze. We've seen a lot of Ryze and Neferi as kind of quite a fast brawling pair. And you've got a lot of target access this game. On the other side, IG looking to try and respond with JJ back on that Pantheon. You've got the all. Onto the Rift we go. And the crowds will have some volume to them, I'm sure. Wait for it. Whew. Wow. Even got a spattering of additional Gyos there. Top Esports with a kind of spike in about 20 minutes, but it feels like just in general, statistically, giving a little bit of an edge there to Invictus Gaming. I kind of see it. A lot of good tools to set up the Kai'Sa and the Ahri between the Poppy, the Pantheon, the Ornn. You can pounce, and the follow-up between that Ahri and that Kai'Sa will be pretty scary. See what Kanavi can do on that lethal-looking Neferi. He's been very good on that champion. And there's some LGD champs again. We get those. Last chance to get your votes in as well, if you're in the Twitch chat. Not too much here in the early game, is there? Both junglers pathing in opposite directions. Neferi, having done red buff a little later, can look for a bit of a play here. I think stayed off vision. As they hopped across the wall, they might have done. JJ could be in a lot of danger here. Needs to be very wary at half HP. Smites needs to run away. That does leave, however, having smoked that dog. And he doesn't have Smite to play around this blue buff, Kanavi. With that ability to smite, potentially run away. Everyone kind of come over and start contesting. So Kanavi goes, don't know about this one. Feathers come out. 3v4, but the smite advantage for Kanavi means they can potentially just turn that into a very safe steal on the blue buff. Jump onto Kanavi, who gets shunted into the wall. Jackie low. Gala and the rest of IG coming to play forwards, though. Jackie gonna have to flash on forward for the W. Last auto! Gets it. Gala, excuse me, go. Kanavi will get that. Call of the pack to buy some time. Darkin daggers bring down Gala. It's a 1-for-1 in the end. Someone has blown everywhere you care to look. Reminder, that blue buff's still up. And Kanavi will likely be able to pick this one up. Because he's the one with the smite. A bit more HP to work with. Okay, nice charge into the wall there from the Shy. 369. Pull back a bit. There's the damage. And poor old Jackie gets jumped on. Just about to finish him off, but then they can't quite finish off Kanavi as well. And Crisp, great knockup, turns that around. It's Crisp that picks up the kill. It's a bit annoying, but here you are. Still get the blue buff steal. JJ going to be forced to cede a camp or two there. Stolen away. Kanavi's blue buff in trade, though, so at least gets something back on the map. Oh, hang on. TP's coming. This is going to get messy. Jumps forwards with the shield vault. Turning around now to JJ will Aegis Assault Wave, flash for the grand entrance, and JJ, having stepped in, might now be punished for his temerity stepping in there. Commas means nothing, and Top Esports go, cool, well, that's just a kill for us then. So, where are we at now in this game? Grubs have just spawned. Kanavi's going to be heading towards them nice and early. JJ will look to trade those out with the dragon. Dragon secured. Interesting start to the game. They needed to get Kanavi rolling, and they've done so. This Neferi is going to be one of the linchpin parts of this game. I feel like top esports draft quite reliant on their skirmishing, really, looking to use the mobility and speed of the Rakan, the Neferi, and the realm warps and stuff to try and play that around things. I feel like IG's comp is a little bit more coherent, I guess. Not that top esports is bad per se, but it's not exactly all on one theme. And best not picked, interesting. Yeah, we've seen a lot of people let that one through. Jackie took a bit of a turret shot there. And one thing I will say is top esports do have lane prio between the Jace and this Zyra Khan into the Kai'Sa and the melee support. It's given a lot of license for Kanavi to be very aggressive in the plays. Now look at W forwards. If IG can get to the mid game, fine, with this Kai'Sa and this Ornn. Basically post turret plates falling, they're going to feel a lot better. The Pantheon helps a bit. But Kanavi's going to come on over and steal some camps. Be as obnoxious as he can be. And Jay just kind of has to deal with it. Rower build on both sides of the rift. Is this the Onivia channel owner casting? No, it is not. This is Initialise on Nymaera's channel. We've collaborated with Onivia in order to bring you some live games of League of Legends, but Onivia is just partnering up with us. I'll wave hello briefly. Hello guys, it's me. I am Initialise. I'm the one casting. Onivia is out there somewhere, might be in chat. But no, we're also live on Alex's, namely Nymaera's YouTube, and also on his Twitch chat. To clarify your question, Charlie. Jackal's so aggressive why I can get ganked though, maybe. Got the shove. Reset's coming. Look, I think he was resetting anyway. It's not the end of the world. Of course, Kai'Sa getting that early kill is Gala's Kai'Sa too, right? This is arguably the most legendary Kai'Sa in the world. A pretty good game to set himself up. Good lead for top esports early, but that was true last game as well, and they fumbled it really hard in the mid game. And I do think IG spike a lot harder in the mid game this time around. 369 with the Cull, plus the Phage, looking to go towards the Black Cleaver and cash in on the early lane prior by saying, look, I've got a free lane, I can go for this Cull and just stack for mid game. Eclipse done for Kanavi, that's a big deal. Not the case for JJ, who is a ways off getting what will likely be that Sundered Sky first item. Shao tries to go that way, gets punished for it. Here comes the Grand Starfall, looking to punish. Flash is not going to keep 369 alive. Shield Vault comes on in, but here comes everybody else. Knockups flying everywhere you look. Hound's Pursuit will reset. Both solo laners from the mid lane also turning up JJ in danger as they have that reset, and it's a second kill onto that doggo in the jungle. 3-0-1 now for Kanavi. This Neferi once again well and truly fed. And that means more items, more gold, more ability to keep going. Creep though, and potentially now in danger. Has got the flash. Will Mako look to go on for his charm. Goes wide, but Rookie burned the ults. Bit unfortunate for him. Mako was pulling away there as well. A bit unfortunate, but that means Rookie not able to get any value here. Kanavi onto the grubs. That will now be 6 grubs. Pretty much uncontestable by Invictus Gaming. Well, initially, looked like a decent enough pick on a 369, but Kanavi managed to immune the knockup. Gets a reset on the Hound's Pursuit. Rookie tries to buy some time, but just doesn't have anywhere near anything resembling damage right now, whereas Kanavi certainly does. And JJ not having that eye to completion meant there was always going to be a discrepancy there. And this Neferi is now an issue. Like, you've got tools to make Neferi's life hard this game. But if she gets fed, it becomes a lot harder to get value out of those. Well, Shy goes through around a volcanic rupture, won't find all that much. Towards the dragon we go. JJ going to try and get this one to be second dragon for Invictus Gaming. Kanavi can look to get on over there. Throws the dogs up, and Mako is blocking any easy attempt to get in there with that steadfast presence. Second dragon secured by Invictus Gaming. They are down, however, 3,000 gold. Pretty significant. 369 now in danger. As in comes the Grand Starfall, looking to come and get the punish. In they go. Reminder, there is still no flash up for that Jace, who flashes. Sorry, just gets knocked into the wall by that heroic. Wait. There's the heroic charge, and into the Keeper's Verdict to knock Kanavi out. Nice work from Invictus Gaming. Get the kill, get out. Do not pass go, do not pick up a return kill. Nice work from IG. Get the dragon in the kill. IG early game is always so questionable. Yes, it is, isn't it? Just what an assassin needs, early kills, basically. The snowball's on. Can he turn it into an avalanche? And they call the Forge God into Grand Starfall. That combo works. In comes the Keeper's Verdict, and Lollipoppy says no. Knocks him out and away. Shy jumped on. It's 369 now with the Black Cleaver. Does hurt a little bit more. The Shy sort of just searing charges away. I think TES didn't want to cross map. They wanted to try and punish the play like they did the same time topside. They had Kanavi there with really, really strong. Couldn't quite do it that time because the Poppy made a significant amount of difference. This will be feats of strength for top esports. They can claim that turret. They've got 4 members here. They really want to look for this. Got 6 grubs too. So damage is done. Kanavi's dogs will secure the kill on the turret and get them feats of strength. Top esports. Good position this game again. 3k up. Soul on the line, though, for IG in 3 minutes. Soul on the line. Soul point on the line for IG in a few minutes. Might be allow them a bit of a turning point. A lot of this gold in mid lane and in jungle. Pretty much all of it. Cream getting a lot of those plates. Getting a fair amount of farm. Involved in a couple kills. Set him up very well for success here on this rise. TP's in. Oh, we're playing this very aggressively. Jacqueline has to flash away, but in comes the ult. Knocked up. Will not get chance to use his Featherstorm. Rookie now looking for an angle. Has found the Spirit Rush on in. Kanavi in danger, but the quickness comes on through. Call of the Forge got there too, though. 369 to the skies. The Shine runs to the charge, and it will not do so. 369 guys. The charge will fall with the steadfast presence means that Kanavi can't get the reset. Gala gets another. Cream on the menu. It's dessert at the end of the play. Brings down JJ, but everyone else falls. Top esports lose 4, and Invictus Gaming are just better in these team fights. Gala out of nowhere, suddenly 4-1-1. Oh my days, I hope we see a replay, because there was a teleport angle from the gods, and Jackie Love, even with the flash, did not get to press R and gets obliterated. Let's have a look. So it's Mako on a flank angle. Teleport comes on through, and Jackie shoved back with the heroic charge. Doesn't ult. So the point-blank keeper's verdict annihilates him. It gives Rookie a reset on his ult. Another charge to work with. JJ flashing on forward to force an early W from Kanavi means he gets knocked up immediately by the Call of the Forge God. The Shy tries to get the charge into the wall to get the additional one. Won't quite, but still survives, and Kanavi dies. Huge deal. At least Cream gets one back, but it is a paltry prize for what is a massive win for Invictus Gaming. Their mid-game fights are just greater than top esports right now. At least they get another turret. But IG traded in that bot side already. Top esports will head on over towards the Herald. With the 6 grabs, that's a good start. 30 seconds on soul point for IG, and you know they want to play around that. Trying to zone top esports out from an easy access towards this mid turret. W flying from this Kaiser now. 4-1-1, the fight begins. House Pursuit is blocked! Can't get the value through. As the keeper's verdict's on in. So ult down, I believe, from Kanavi there. TP back. Head back on over. Dragon spawning. They want to play this. Cream doesn't quite have that second item. Herald immediately dropped mid lane. And the Shy is the one left to deal with it. I think this turret charge should just be a free turret kill. Done. Forces IG out of the river, but the Shy looking for a Call of Forge Guard. Is Featherstorm this time. Mako knocks one away. That's the Jace out of the play, but ults are being traded left, right, and center. Jackie no ult, but the Shy no ult either, as Mako similarly burns that ultimate. Reset coming on through from a couple people. Mako has to leave, and I think IG just have to give up this dragon. No real way into the river anymore, having lost that mid-tier 1. Teleport back, though. They want to play it. Mako stuck around. What about the fight after? Little too little, little too late, but that's a Grand Starfall. They really want this play. Where's Rookie? Realm Warp out. Everyone's out to safety. But with Realm Warp to the other side, it'll leave this mid-tier 1 open for IG to take, I imagine. Resets now coming on through for IG. Kanavi and Crisp were around. Will Kanavi spot out the recalls? Mako cancels his recall. Hang on, how aggressively do they want to play this? They just got Rookie over the angle as well. They see this happening. Red buff taken. They know now. Kanavi finds them with the sweeper. Good W. Keeps him safe. Call of the pack. Turns into Spidey senses. Still, soul point denied from Invictus Gaming. Gala at 4-1-1 is a significant issue for top esports. However, the Neferi, very strong. The Jace, despite being 0-3, pretty strong as well. At least the ornaments are going to start coming on through, and IG in touching distance is a big deal charm. Doesn't lead to all that much, as the damage not really there for this build on the RE as yet. 5 stacks of the Dark Seal. Not quite at the Leandries, that'll help. So the Roa fully stacked as well, that will also help. Kaiser, you could probably get a Hurricane here, I would imagine, with this build. A lot of damage and not a lot of armor builders. Pretty much a full squishy comp from top esports, all looking at it here. The Rise will end up a bit bruisery. Same with 369, and to an extent the Neferi, but none of them are exactly what you call armor builders, are they? Gala is so strong in this game. Out and out the gold leader. And on his Kaiser, the Prince of Pentas. Could do a lot of work here this game. It's another voracious Atakan. Slow enough early game. We led to that. GC with a lot of level experience from side laning so much. No one's starting up that Atakan though. Minute and a half, just about. Till Soul Point again for IG. See where they want to play around it this time. They kind of lost out on lane prior due to that Herald use the last time. Gala might just be the best ADC in the LPL. He's certainly been there before. I think his winter was highly underwhelming. It's not what I was expecting from that player. This split, been much, much better. And things with things like Kai'Sa coming back into prominence, you have to start looking at this player again. He started off with a fantastic Misfortune game today. In a great position to round that out with a second MVP if he does well on this Kai'Sa again. Single-handedly holding the gold lead close. $50 seconds on this dragon. Fighting for the Scuttle Crab. Kanavi sat on a control ward in that mid lane bush. Looking to see whether we can catch someone being silly. Gala going to be donated the Scuttle Crab. Does that earn him a Hurricane? That'd be a big break point. Rookie's got TP. Has a Phantom Dancer. I should have known. Bit more ability to deal with these divers and duels. Very strong now. 75% crit. All that extra movement speed and kite ability now with that PD completed is good news. Rookie TP's back in. Leandri's completed. Arm guard though for Cream and a couple Dirks in inventory for 369 and Kanavi's going to make sure they hurt if they can land some of their poke as well. Everyone's armed and dangerous here. The Arsenal's out and available. That bush is very scary. Fast side alteration burn. Puts in a ward. Kanavi looking to get across the back of the pit. Gets into the pit. We'll make it a smite fight. Trading it out. Secured by Kanavi. Smite secure. Flash before JJ. But immediately jumps on the edge of self-bites to try the call and forward goal comes across. Knock away! Crisp down. JJ into the backside. Stays alive. They kill off Kanavi because they knocked it away. Realm Warp interrupted. A triple to that Kai'Sa. Make it the quadra kill. And if they can find Jackie Love, you know they'd find the Penta. Can't quite find the charm. Jackie in that 1 versus 5 has to hold on to the mid lane. There is 30 seconds on the Baron. They can turn to pick up the GAs and then pick up the Baron. It's just the same idea as last game. They lose that objective but get 8 kills onto Gala all in all. Upgraded PD courtesy of the ornaments. They get even more for this beautiful Christmas tree they're building. An Atakan and a Baron on top. Beautiful looking. Dragon initially secured by Kanavi on the steal. It's a flip. And Kanavi secures it. The fight after gets interesting. Now watch this one out. JJ's going to burn the flash jump onto Cream, but buys a lot of time with that Aegis Assault. Knock away on Jackie Love into the kill on Chris. Makes this a 3 versus 5 without your AD carry. The Realm Warp's interrupted. Leaves the rest of top esports out to dry. We're left at the bottom of a canyon in the form of Jackie Love's diff in the bot lane. Mainly because, well, Jackie Love's Gala's diff in the bot lane. Mainly because Jackie Love wasn't there. Another great ult from Mako. Baron now on the table. They've got Atakan buffs to work with. The gold, dead even. But for the moment, a minute and 41 with an extra life makes this Baron a tricky option for top esports. TP's fly. Half HP on the Baron. Kanavi looking for a flank angle. Stole the last objective. Would need to do so again. They're going to flip it. They know he's there. Can Mako keep him out? That has to be the play. They get the charm on the Rookie, who ults away. Trying to place one out. Pit, Dragon down to 2,000 HP. Sorry, Baron down to 2,000 HP. Get the objective name right. Looking for the call of Forge. Got flash. 3C down, flash down to safety. The Shine danger. Gala to the backside. Look to the angle. Withdrawal burned. JJ now in danger. Withdrawal on him. They get the turns around and they will kill off Chris, but that's not that much value. 3C down, trying to buy some time as a knock away again by Mako. Rookie in danger. Looking to kill off Jackie Love. All of these withdrawals to no avail. Mako's going to be run down. They're back on the rift. Kill onto Chris, but make this still a 4 versus 5, but they can run back at the Baron. But the Atakan buffs don't earn IG a one-team fight. That's for sure. Can they look at Baron again? 6 seconds on Crisp. No, they can't. They try to use it to pull a trigger and it doesn't work. Get a lot of flashes. Critically, some ones on the likes of Jackie. Let's have a look again. Because they tried to play for the fight. Rookie can't quite get as much of an angle as he wants because the quickness matches the charm on Rookie. Call the Forge Roll comes on in. Flash for the knockup into 369, who flashes just in time to avoid the knockup. Gala goes looking on in and is immediately popped. He's so much of the gold, but that is a big deal. Killing off Crisp is nice, but Jackie low, but not punishable by Rookie, who doesn't want to burn the flash to kill off Jackie Love. So he dies too. At least they don't lose the stacks. Rookie's got 10 of them. It's a pretty big deal. The arm guard is popped on Cream. Back to the Baron we go. A lot of tools burn. Important to note, most ults, though, back up. Keep your eyes on the fact that Cream has no flash, though. Arm guard, no flash on Jackie. IG did not burn flashes with the exception of the Shies in that last play. So they've got some big ones to play with. Mako, Gala, Rookie. JJ is coming up fairly shortly, too. Can make this a very difficult contest for top esports if the wrong person is caught out of position. Jackie Love's ult back up and available. Here we go again. Return to the scene of the crime. Slightly better armed in terms of some of those summoner spells, but no withdrawals to blow him with this time. Charm lands onto Crisp. He's got enough for shield to stay alive with the Guardian. Scuttle Crab taken. The vision control right now for IG in this river is pretty monumental. Sweep out that last wall. Call of the Forge God going to come on true. Trying to blow up Jackie Love's ult. Does so. But that means there's a charm afterwards. Cleanse. Charge to the wall. Can't quite get in the fella pull. They'll bring down Mako. Turning it around. Jackie survived for once. The engage not quite clean enough. The cleanse, the ult enough. And they're down a member. Mako can't get the stun into the wall and the follow-up not quite there. Gala not feeling comfortable enough to jump on in. Has got a GA to his name now, but is half HP. Clutch from Jackie. Mako going to be kicking himself. He couldn't quite find that wall stun. Hang on. Big turnaround onto the Shies. Now in danger. Just go down. And a Sunny an additional member. 3v5. Baron's up. IG can turn for it. Sorry, Top Esports can turn for it. What am I talking about? The other team. Quite important then. Here we go. Grand Starfall looking to play it out. Top Esports, the multi-man look to steal it. Into the backside, Crisp in danger. Jackie in danger. They will get the Baron, but they lose the AD carry. Over comes Mako. Gala has his GA pop. Rookie looking have to get out to safety. But where does Gala go? Has a barrier and a flash and nowhere else. He's dead. They killed off Jackie Love, but they lose additional members trying to go for the contest. Rookie will survive at least. Wait. 369 will find him. Ults away. Uses the wolves to body block. Shock blast hits. Won't kill. Needs to ult away to safety. 369 can't secure it even with the Ghost Blade speed up. Mako now body blocking. Orb of Deception lands onto 369. Shock blast blocked. But Dragon's up and they can't get anywhere near it. While Cream and Kanavi shove up for that tier 2 top. Couple bad fights in a row now for IG. It's got Top Esports back in control. 5,000 gold is now their lead. Jackie Love proving harder and harder to pick off again now. Still very, very strong is this Kai'Sa. But the GA being popped is a big deal. Not going towards any penetration either. Defensive options. Will likely be a bloodthirster here, I would imagine. Which is why I was half expecting it. Serpent's Fang from this Neferi, or this Jace. They've gone towards the edge of night, has Kanavi. Trying to deal with some of the people knocking him out. Charm. A real follow-up, though. Shies teleported in. Keeper's Verdict wound up. Sentence. Abstained. Call of the Forge God now burned. Jackie Love up into the air. Knock away. Kanavi will W, but that means Jackie's not here again! They can start to dive on forwards. Mako likely low. Will surely go down. Cream surviving. The bleed is enough to kill off At least that support. But they've killed off Cream and Trade. Crisp in danger. Knock him into the backside. It's diving on in. Rookie trying to find an angle. Where is Gala? Dead is where he is. Knock up on 2. But there's just not enough damage. Rookie has to leave. And the Shy now jumped on top. Esports. As Rookie jumped on Darkin Daggers. Bring down a double. The pack is too much. 6-2. That's game. We're going to game 3. That's the end of it. Top Esports hold the line. IG looked like they were right back in it, but they can't get value out of the Atakan. They fumble around the Baron. And Gala alone not enough. Jackie Love starts out those late game finds a lot cleaner than the mid game ones.
Jinx needs to be killing those tanks. Nautilus locked in. We were thinking it was either going to be that or the Rel. Go towards the hooky boy. And there are our drafts. I think top Esports have... very, very good ability to start fights early on and get skirmishes. Sejuani ult, Sejuani Renekton, Jin W, Nautilus. Long range Victor E's kind of comboing onto that as well. On the other side, better front line, I think. The Skarner and the Alistair. Yes, Sejuani's good, but I think that the Renekton, the Nautilus do fall off, and I think they have some nasty, nasty lane pressure. Orianna good into both these matchups. The paper can be so thin at points. Alright, let's hear the crowd one last time. Holy. Oh, Jesus. And there are some good points in chat already saying, well, you know, top Esports better team fight, but they lose lanes. I think that's completely relevant to say. It's why I don't think. Some extra Joyo was big thrown out there. The Shy not being able to stop the recall. That W start for the traps in the brush, and also being able to leap at them too. Has gone for the grass, not gone for something like the Conqueror. But no, I do agree with the comments in chat. Looks like IG have better lanes. I mean, the Orianna and the Victor, they both go for the Comet. That one's a bit more skill shot reliant. The Nidalee does very much perma-push top lane. However, if you're against a Renekton Sejuani, if you misstep, you will get punished. The Shy didn't get a recall, and he's starting from a lower HP. We'll say, though, I doubt the Renekton can really take fights. That's a hook on the level 1 and an ignite. Immediately cleansed away. Mako gets a headbutt onto Chris. Chris drops into a brush. We'll drop the aggro as well. Important level 1 hook, but Mako serving a lot more damage to come through. Sometimes you see the pulve start from Alistair. I think it makes a lot more sense to go towards the headbutt now. However, knowing that there's no pulverize, Chris can freely hook into him. Much easier to trade against the headbutt than the pulverize, which keeps you stunned in place and extra auto attack comes down. It's the only thing which Alistair can really do at the level 1. Oh, another hook. Chris, great accuracy. Gala. Getting hit very early on. Jinx always a hard champion to play against the Nautilus. Rookie, so good in lane as the Orianna. Gets the QW. Maybe we spoke a little too soon. Historically, what a great player this guy has been on the champion. Cream, though. Yeah. Has a Mulan montage waiting for him. They've made a mage out of him. Was the Silas Yone. Melee assassin player. Give him an Akali as well. He has become a mage player on top Esports. OMG. He tried to summon that. Ooh, Kanavi spotted. And no gank comes through. However, will be contesting on the blue buff. Now I thought that would be a lot easier because Cream should have been there on higher HP. Did take a tower shot, and I wonder if that changes plans. No flash for Rookie. Cream could still go in it. He is actually cancelling his recall. Rookie will get a full recall. Teleport back in. One Amp Tone or a Dark Seal. Or, yeah, there you go, Dark Seal. Good stuff. You get that stacking going. Cream gets to back on a little bit more CS. See what build he goes towards, actually. I really hope it's not the Rod of Ages build. I think he needs to be higher damage. I want to see him... he shouldn't have to go for the Rod of Ages build. Spear very nearly finding its way around the minion there. Angelina Jolie. Would have been proud. Curve the bullet. Completely unrealistic, by the way. You can't curve bullets like that. Very fun, though. Gala gets lane pressure. Gets the lane push hit. Rotation very early up to the top side, because what top Esports want to do is rotate after the debuff for the lane stops has gone down.
rotate the Renekton away from the Nidalee. We have seen when you pick like a hyper lane counter, you know, something like this Renekton into a Nidalee, into the Nidalee into the Renekton, or Quinn, or something like that. You just have to sit and grin and bear it for a couple of levels, and then you swap afterwards once the restrictions fall off, and it allows you to recoup some of your early losses. Renekton gets a free wave on bot side. They'll get double lane push. Ooh, Kanavi gets an angle into mid lane. Okay, not going to lead to that much. This Mega could have done something funky, like flash queuing double into tower. Unlikely to kill though, full HP Silverjwani. Not exactly known for being squishy. Scroll up in chat, been calling top East was 2-1 even though they were down in game 1. I'm happy for you. Good prediction. The problem is, it's really hard to predict it for the right reasons, isn't it? I think IG, clear to see, like them against top teams, very, very good team fighters. However, against the other top teams, lacking a little bit of awareness of the map and lacking the foresight to tell which lane should be going where. You know, top East was their swaps here. Very valuable. Can IG get something out of this? Seeing Gala not particularly work well in the early lane, but they are helping. At least they get the Nidalee versus a Renekton for a little bit longer by swapping this. Grub spawning soon. Dragon up, of course, as well for a trade. For IG to pull off a win, Gala has to pop off like crazy. Well, I think he has the support there. Strong double frontline of the Skarner and the Alistar. Movement speed available from Orianna using W, and then the extra attack speed if the Primal Surge comes through from the Nidalee. It's not like how you traditionally think of it. Yeah, it's the trading that happens. You land a spear and then Renekton just can't play. It's half the HP, man. Gonna get another Grasp proc maybe? No, not quite at the end of it. But it's not a traditional enchanter play around the Jinx, but it is half an enchanter in each solo lane. And that can be incredibly important. You know, if Riki gets an initial combo, then puts the shield onto Gala, allows him to get a W move speed as well, that can be your half enchanter. Both solo laners contributing to the whole there. Yep. Slovaki, it is Nidalee top lane. Chris maybe angling for a hook. Doesn't want to land it onto the Alistar, but it might help anyway. And here comes Sejuani Mako. Ooh, Jejep trying to help. Tries to headbutt back off Kanavi, but it's not enough. Kanavi commits to the flash. Does actually take a tower shot forward as well. Kanavi has gone too far. Jejep, fantastic counter gank to even the score. Kanavi misjudging things. Captain Jack out of the W. Summoning the spirit of the old Jin Green Wind God. This caster is IG biased. I don't think about that. What was I saying earlier? I feel like you've missed half of the cast if that's the case. If you look at what just happened top lane, I think you'll see some worries there. I think, perhaps examine your own anxiety there, potentially. It's a harsh game between both teams. Both sets of fans will definitely wanting different things to happen in this early game. IG, if they don't get early leads, things do get spooky. Top esports, force fights, much easier than Invictus Gaming. The Jin W. The ultimate from Sejuani from range. Renekton with the Sejuani as well. Nautilus, of course, being the king of starting fights for free. IG cannot make missteps on the map. And in fact, actually, Sasori, if you were listening earlier, we were talking about how well top esports were doing with swapping lanes around, opening up opportunities on the map. That doesn't sound particularly IG favored to me. Right here, it didn't look like it at the start either. Kanavi did go too far. Kanavi thought he might need to use that W to get out of the play. Sadly stepped on the trap as well. Kanavi went down very easily there. Oh, big fight on top side. Jeja count up again. Fantastic triple pulverize. Agala is threatening a reset. That's one. Jackalope goes down. Shockwave comes through and IG pick up a quick brace on the top side. A kill towards their mid laner and towards their AD carry will absolutely set things off to the right track. Top esports giving a lot of gold over that they can't afford to do. Chris trapped alone on this top side, and it won't just be the 2, it's going to be the 3. Jeja does a drive-by into the wall. And it's another kill over towards Rookie. 2-0. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. Got that after his first back. And suddenly, the conversation changes, doesn't it? Top esports should be able to force fights well. Should be able to pick off IG. Well, you can't do it in 3v3s like that. You need to be finding out plays and bursting someone first. Mako, great combo from him. Triple pulverize to keep them into the play. So What happened here? JJ. Couldn't quite get the wall stunt. Crisp, I think, maybe flinched a little there. Used that hook, and the ult hits. The ult hits onto Jaculov. Triple pulve afterwards. The ult splash damage from Gala, even at short range, makes a lot of difference. Gets excited. Shockwave after quick, clean kills. IG have been waiting for a chance to really hold their own. Not hold their own, but, you know, get one over on one of the other top teams. We know that IG can be up there. They're 1 and 2 right now, but I think that's not indicative of the teams that they're playing against. Top Esports, of course, on the other side, the only team to beat anyone's legend in a series so far. Both these teams, lofty aspirations, current LPL champions, a super team formed out of old gods and IG, looking to see if they can live up to the moniker of super team. Many people would disagree with that because they think these players aren't on good enough form. The Shy did great work in the individual trades, hasn't led up to the biggest individual advantage, and 369 does have the Dominus available. Has a Q for healing too. Wave clear quickly out. The Shy can actually potentially kill it, by the way. He's very careful, and there's the Dominus, because this is the problem. 369 has empowered abilities. Is it going to be enough? The Conqueror fully stacked, but he knows he doesn't have enough more left in the tank there. Jinxall going down. Is it on target? It's getting close. Blocked by Kanavi. Shields his top laner. Rookie back into mid lane. Has his ultimate again. Going towards the Rod of Ages on the Orianna this time. I mind that less. Rod of Ages and Seraphs makes you very hard to kill. Well, You're going to do less damage. And that does worry me. I think Seraphs would have been enough. Make her clearing wards. 2k gold lead for IG out of the early game. We said they won it. Hang on a second. The Shy's chasing me down. Gets the moon speed and bushes. If he hits that spear, 369's in trouble. A lot of trouble. Kanavi going towards topside. Grubs a spawn. IG have 3. Top Esports have none. They'd like to deny a couple from IG. Of course, with the Nidalee. Oh, Renekton's having to proxy farm to not play against the Nidalee. That's clever from 369. Gone for the Tiamat. Gives him more wave clear. The Shy teleporting in. 369 doesn't have his teleport. That's a bad ultimate from Kanavi. However, Gala is caught. We said top esports can force fights more easy. Kanavi needs to make it out alive, though. The Shy on the flank will likely get one and does with the Sheen proc. Crisp getting hit now by Gala, and he'll get himself a reset. Top esports, they force a fight, but they can't finish it off. The Shy continuing to chase down. Has movement speed in this build, especially when he gets the mark on someone. IG, 6-1 in the kills. And I think top esports didn't dot their I's and cross their T's. They had no teleport on the Renekton. He wanted to proxy farm. I wonder if top esports should have left well alone those grubs. 369 taking a quick trade. Rookie has the ultimate. Not afraid to use that Clockwork Mind up passive. JJ will claim even more grubs. This is fantastic for the Nidalee, who will be hitting towers very easily. With the Sheen procs and everything else. Grab field stops a few auto attacks coming through. 6 grub. Oh, Kanavi gets the last one. That's important. No 6 grubs. And suddenly 369 is forcing the fight as well. Rookie has a Catalyst, has a Rod of Ages, but it's not enough HP. A kill and grubs. Top esports find something. IG overstaying around the grubs. And a hook lands over the wall, but it won't lead to anything else. Cream will push in the top side wave. What's happening with the rest of the lanes? 369 spotting out JJ. He's up 300 gold now because that kill onto Rookie. IG need to respect the snap engage potential of top esports. Didn't feel like they did that right there. Much better from 369. The first fight, they don't have the Renekton. It's a 5v4. The Kanavi ult misses. Sejuani goes off. And Mako gets a good disengage onto Jaculov, who kind of walks into melee range of the Alistar trying to get an auto onto Gala. Chris ends up flashing. To stop the Jinx ult. Kanavi was never living there anyway. Tricky. Gala one item. Everyone, all of that. Hang on a second. The Shy caught out. Tries to put down a ward. Does so. Has the flash, but is it going to be enough? I don't know about that. We'll see. Jaculov doesn't finish the kill, though, and leaves Kanavi to do a little bit of dirty work. Kanavi uses his ult, snipes him over the wall. The Shy Runs into 4 top esports members and cannot survive. 369 doesn't have Dominus, likely to fall on the other side now. JJ can slam into the wall, as can Mako. Trying to clear out the wave at least. And he does so, actually. 369 flashes out. Doesn't have the Dominus, remember. Mako, with his ultimate, will tank things up, make it a little bit of a slow demise, and will at least clear the wave. First turret will go to top esports. Stop IG getting themselves that full feats of strength. Garlic, great damage there. Uses his ult into Jackie Love. Next objective for IG would get them the feats of strength. Top esports have 2 more, well, 3 more they need to get, so it's very likely going over to IG regardless, but still. Tower over to top esports. This is the kind of game you slow down. You watch the map movements again. I think the Shy making a big mistake there. Sometimes he does, trying to play beyond his safe boundaries on the quote-unquote weak side of the map. He is strong, he's very good in a 1v1, but there were so many members on his side of the map, and all of his were going towards a bot side dive, that he had no right to be where he was. Nidalee can ward out very well with a W. That's what she was trying to do, I think, and also the trinket too. If you do manage to sneak that in there, you get a lot more safety to play around, but he was greedy here. 20 seconds now until Dragon. IG have the 5 grubs. They've taken the first Dragon as well, very much winning in the objective battle. They can afford to give this one up, and honestly, I would suggest they do so. You really want Nidalee to get as much hit on towers as possible. Kanavi potentially comboed up. Has that passive, has the aftershock though. Does he have a flash? No, he doesn't. There's a shockwave available from Rookie, and there's a impale available, and onto the traps. Kanavi goes too far. His teammates are not there to help him. The Shy, knowing that there's no fight available now, will just continually go towards topside. The Shy has the stride breaker. It's 369 rather, but the Shy is losing the fight. Doesn't have the flash, and 369 gets himself a solo kill onto the Nidalee. The stride breaker completion so important, and the Shy on his Nidalee top lane, not able to win the duel. That is a bad litmus test for IG. Oh, what a mixed game we have now. 2 dragons, 5 grubs to IG. However, the Nidalee has not used those 5 grubs very well. The stride breaker cull completed on both top laners, keeps the even gold there. I think 369 is threatening IG to be a more useful top laner than the Nidalee, which needs an obscene lane lead to work. JJ was praising the Shy's Nidalee in an interview earlier this week, saying that he has to learn from the Shy how to play the champion. We saw some of those mechanics in lane were very good, but right there just misjudges the duel. What happens? Level 10 to level 11. Ah, just jumps into the level 11 to level 10 power spike. Yeah, that'll do it. 369 gets his Conqueror stacked up. The Shy takes the last plant knowing he's lost the duel. Gets the 3 bloody petals at least. Now back up into that lane. It's not the Nidalee there anymore though. It's the Orianna. What's happening in the rest of the map? Nidalee versus Victor on the bottom side of the map. 4 kills on Orianna, by the way. Jesus Christ, that is a strong, strong Orianna. Seraphs and Rod of Ages. That's the old school build, isn't it? For the likes of your Ryze, the likes of your Cassidins, Cassiopeia. JJ, drive by through mid lane, not able to find that much. Kanari's the one that's carrying them, but he's having a bad game. Well, that was kind of the case for bits of last split. Well, they were more consistent there, but I think Kanavi has been exceptionally good regionally this year. We're going to talk about first time when it comes to that. Top esports, can they find themselves one of those snap engages? Behind significant amounts of gold. The Jinx and the Orianna being that far ahead is a problem. Top esports need to find a way to shut them down, and also at some point stop the dragon stacking. It's an infernal rift. You're also against long range guys. Yes, you have long range yourself, but the Orianna and the Jinx landing basic skill shots can be a big problem with that infernal soul. Not to mention the Nidalee too in a side lane. Well, not that side lane is that important when you get to soul. At that point, you're grouping up all the time on you. Either way, point stands. Long range with the infernal soul helps you an awful lot, doesn't it? 2 minutes until Atakan. Ruinous variety. IG would very much like to get their hands on that with all of their neutral objectives stocked up already and able to be boosted. Just like I'm boosted. I'm so boosted. Seraph's completed for Rookie. Rookie is so hard to kill now. Comparative to what he should be. Still obviously a target that top esports will be going towards. But Merc treads Rod of Ages Seraphs. Now ain't that a combo to get through. Bit of a doozy. Kanavi tries to clear out a ward. Might be able to do so. This does mean, however, Orianna doesn't have a Liandry's. Is much lower damage at this point than you could be. You want that Liandry's versus Nautilus, Renekton, Sejuani. All beef balls. A lot of HP to get value out of that. Make a hit with a W. This time Kanavi moving a little bit more closely with his teammates. Sejuani not strong when she's alone. Needs someone else to come with her. That's me, Ruby. I definitely call the IG boosted. Yeah. Okay, Cream. Also no Leandries just yet. Herald goes into mid lane. That's an ult onto Matt Alistair, but they still have ultimate. That's very tanky, and the Renekton, even though they have Dominus, is not ignited. No healing to come through, and IG pick off a clean kill. Jinx misses the ult, but with the Herald pushed in and a kill taken, they will very much take that. The Renekton not able to be the front line which Top Esports wanted. Pushing into the mid lane. 5 grubs. Dragon spawning in a minute. Invictus Gaming playing the objective game out well. And Top Esports, a poor approach to that fight. We know that Top Esports are a good team fighting team. That was not a good team fight itself. Minute until Dragon. IG opened up the midsection of the map. Go back to the replay of this. Of course, Dragon will be set up in during this replay, so don't be afraid to see a fight after this. I don't like that Sejuani ultimate. There's no follow-up. It's not onto an important member. It's onto an Alistair with ult. It's a bad choice of engage from Kanavi and 369. And there was no real follow-up. Going in a single directional fight versus a Shockwave also likely to be your demise, especially when there's a resetting Jinx behind it already at 2 items. 30 seconds till Dragon now. What's the play from Top Esports? This is the kind of point in the game where you have enough, got 1,000 gold lead on the Skarner as well. Alistair doesn't have ult for the next fight. Perhaps Top Esports feel like without the Alistair ult, they can take an easier fight. But you're a constant threat of being reset on by the Jinx. Of a great Shockwave. Top Esports need to open up a second angle. They tried to do that with the Renekton the last time. They don't have a flank ward now, though. 369, how will he approach this? Do you give it up? I don't think they can they? Giving up Soul Point? It bends them over the barrel later on. Jeje, going forwards. Gets a wall stun. Not able to get much after that point. And now he's potentially stuck in the play. But he is very, very tanky. Impaled flashed away from. Grab field. Stops that and there's a hook onto Rookie, but the Shockwave catches Cream. That makes things a little bit more interesting. Mako pops the ult. 369 1v1ing the Shy. Rookie trying to get some damage forward and the Jhin ults. Not able to do that much. Oh, that was scary for a second though. Swing and a miss. The Shy walks into the Renekton, the Sejuani, and he has gone too far. The hook lands onto Mako, and just as it was meant to be disengaging, it burns down again. Reset for Gala, though. Does that change anything? Tries to walk forward again. All things said and done, 2 for 1. Support for support, but the extra top laner going down. Top Esports, they want to keep going after this point. Gala's reset has run off, and the Renekton Sejuani is getting big value. Big value. Dragon, I think it's been won by Top Esports. IG really did not want the Shy to die in the way that he did there. Teleport back in. Oriana's coming back. No ultimate available. And of course, lower damage right now. Teleport coming in from Renekton. Dragon comes down. Remember, there is still a Renekton Sejuani. IG do not want to be giving those free permafrosts. Over to Top Esports. Behind in gold to Top Esports still. But a reality check for IG. That the snap engage, the ability to pick someone around the side of the fight, just like the Shy was picked off there by Kanavi and 369, is a very real threat. What happens here? Jeje gets the wall stun, but there's no follow-up. Everyone's out of range. Jeje, W'd on the Jhin. Doesn't get the good impale. And then the fight gets a bit split. Shock lands onto Cream, but this is the bonus having the Rod of Ages build. You see, the big thing is actually the 369 combo off to the side. Stops the Shy from really appreciating anything else. Now we get back into live. Top Esports trying to get some good damage. Now Shockwave on to Chris. Now he doesn't have that much to play around. There's a teleport coming in from the Shy. He has flash, but he might have to use it. No, he feels like he can stay in a little longer. Where's the rest of the damage? 369 not coming to the play. Kanavi doesn't have a tower to go back towards either. Will he be able to disengage from that spear? Mako wants to punt him into the wall. He does get the pulverize. Jigsault gets the damage needed to finish off the kill. Now 369. Slowed, but not killed. Top Esports lose their jungler, lose their support, and IG. They pick apart Top Esports this time. They have the gold lead, and they'll have themselves an Atakan as well. Creeping more into the future, the reality check around the Dragon, reminding them how carefully they have to play around certain pieces, and this time they pick off Top Esports before they can get everyone on this, all the pieces on the board. Those plants bring a lot of value. An extra 25% buff towards the grubs, towards the dragons as well. Chemtech Soul, of course, are quite important with that. It's one of the few ways you get tenacity in the game. Even a single Chemtech Dragon, which gives you 6% tenacity, will now be giving you, 7.5% tenacity. Heal and Shield Power 2 will apply to Orianna, will apply to Skarner, to Alistair passive, Triumph and Roar, and of course the Nidalee as well. That can be unexpected at points. You have to factor that in. 369 misses a cannon minion. Shame. For shame, I tell you. So, IG. Gold lead, no soul point. Baron up in 40 seconds. XP lead in mid lane. Rod of Age is evening that out. Of course, in terms of the actual levels, but Rookie, half a level over Cream to level 16 first. Bot lane, now that's a problem. Level in support feels less important until you get to level 11, and suddenly Alistair is much, much, much more tanky. Carlo at level 14, likes having the extra stats. Of course, the W into mid-game, as it's now maxed out, is absolutely disgusting. I saw Carlo smiling. The Iceman smiled? Are you kidding me? Damn. Don't think I've ever seen that one before. Baron spawned. Buffs now give their ability to the entire team. Scuttle Crabs now give you vision of the surrounding area. Indeed, that's what happened there, I believe. IG know there's no wards on Baron for that moment. Top Esports easy comeback, just pick everyone off. They absolutely can do. That being said, we're at the point in the game now where it's easier to group. You instantly wave clear anything you touch, really, especially as the Orianna, the Victor. That means we're more likely to see 5v5s, and I think in 5v5s, IG are likely to win that. Skarner, ungodly tanky. Yes, Sejuani can be too, but I think I favour the Skarner and the Alistair in that. Nidalee can struggle to have that same value. It's even in gold now. Sundered Sky and the Triforce, that first auto attack you get on target is nasty. Gives you more staying power too. Leandries for both mid laners means they are much more of a damage threat now. No Lord Dominates regards for either one just yet. Jackie at least skipping the fire cannon, which I think is correct. I think he's likely hitting the front line unless it's with a W. You're not auto-attack either with the fire cannon, the Orianna, and the Jinx. I think you need to go for the straight damage, which is what he's done. And of course, IG have the much easier fallback. You kill one target, you reset with the Jinx. It's a 3-item Jinx. And she carries the fight for you. How do Top Esports figure their way out of this one? Feels like that is the question. They are not the team in the lead. They have to do the problem solving themselves. IG are the ones which are more likely to win these fights. Shockwave threatened. Jaculov has to flash away from that. His old mid laner he won worlds with. Sending him a love tap with the Orianna ball. Commander Taha. Oh my god, Jaculov's got to be so scared now. He's got to be so careful. No flash on Jaculov. So much damage came in from Rookie that. Using the Fog of War. Rookie, arguably the best player at using Fog of War in the LPL. Dragon. Getting finished. It won't be Soul, but it's Soul Point. No fight really looked at by Top Esports. W lands. Baron's still available, of course. Cream tries to get some value with his... Oh, flash forward from Makeup. That's our engage. Cream dodges out of the shockwave, but the Impale comes back. Rookie can finish off the kill, but he's kept into the Chaos Storm, and Cream is just alive a little longer. Is that enough? Gala is dodging out on the hook. Kanavi tries to go further and will get the kill. Is that enough? Rookie is still around for damage. The Shy is still around for damage, and Cream and Jaculov have hit the ground. 369 to Kanavi. The Renekton and Sejuani cannot carry from this position. IG will win the team fight in 4-for-2 fashion. Maybe they can even chase down Kanavi to add another one onto the plate. JJ goes through the wall. Top Esports. They could not find their way in that team fight. The Renekton Sejuani gets value, but it is not nearly enough. Kanavi can't carry with damage. Will choose to die to the tower. Give himself a reset. IG go back out onto the map, and Rookie will take an inner tower. Jaculov missing that flash from the earlier sequence in mid lane. What the heck happened here? Shy jumps onto 369. Jaculov misses out on the Impale. What the heck happens to him? I think he just gets 1v1 by the Shy. Ah, that'll be it. First it's his mid laner taking his flash, and then it's his top laner from IG. Instantly evaporating him. The Shy, great job diving into the backline. It is very hard to play team fight Nidalee. In live, we have the Baron started up. We might have to see that. Again, is Kanavi still dead? Yes, he is, because death was delayed. There is no smite steal here. 369, does he want to go up to this? I think they have to leave it. Baron taken. Reset coming in from Gala, of course, from taking the neutral objective. Jerja potentially able to find himself an engage, but no. Craftfield is enough. And IG move back out onto the map. Such an important series, again. I think for momentum. And I think for self-belief. IG have lost to Anyone's Legend and BLG this week. Rough series of games. Hard schedule. 2-0'd by BLG. 3 games versus AL. That was a fun series. Hell of a fun series. Actually, both of them were. I'm sure many people are tuning in to see Invictus Gaming. One of the most exciting teams for name brand value. For nostalgia. And of course for the way that Invictus Gaming, regardless of the players on the roster, are such an exciting team fighting team. If they can beat top teams, gives you a little bit more hope for them. Shows that it's not just a fool's hope, not just nostalgia, not just all those other things that we mentioned. Cream on top side. Jerja doesn't have flash, wants to go for the impale, hits the slow. And Cream has been absolutely turned into mush. IG will take themselves that topside turret. Jackalow uses an ult for something onto the Shy. Doesn't look like at least that much. The 369. Dominus is also running. That's a failed play. IG playing well. Playing fairly disciplined as it stands right now. Picking off kills where they can. Not giving up freebies. Not at this point in the game anyway. What happened here? Yeah, it was Renekton going forwards onto the Nidalee. Trying to get themselves a W in. But they couldn't get the kill. That tenacity from the Chemtech Dragon very much helping them. Inhibitor goes down. Cream still not up and available. You still have the shields from Orianna and the heals from the Nidalee. Definitely helps you walk forwards, and that's an excited Jinx because she gets that from the tower. The Nautilus that goes on to Orianna, but it doesn't lead to anything. It doesn't lead to anything. The wave is dying, but not slowly enough. Not quickly enough. The Nex is now bare, and I don't think there's anything left. Jackalow shockwaved into oblivion, and the Shy will kill his former teammate. Invictus Gaming have played 3 series versus our top teams recently, and now they will get themselves their first win versus one of them. Top Esports eat their first loss. Invictus Gaming win the series 2-1.